You finally stopped being a mega simp for the childhood crush you chased for 18 years, and turned around to marry an absolutely unhinged yandere female CEO. Everyone else called you cold and heartless. Only you knew that the yandere was your true love, because in your previous life, you spent 5 whole years pursuing the campus belle. You finally spent a 3 million bride price just to marry her and bring her home. After marriage, you worked your fingers to the bone. You successfully fought your way up to become a multimillionaire. But the campus belle, all for the sake of her secret lover, actually poisoned your wine glass, sending you straight to the grave via sudden cardiac arrest. It wasn't until your life ended and your soul left your body that you realized someone out there was silently guarding you all along. For you, she attended your funeral. She threw away all her power, wealth, and status. She personally offed that trashy couple so you could rest in peace. She stumbled and staggered her way to your coffin, looking at your eternally sleeping face. Her voice trembled. Why couldn't you just stay by my side? From the very beginning, all I ever wanted was you. Floating in mid-air, you stared blankly at the woman in front of you. In that moment, your soul felt like it had been struck by lightning. In the very next second, she committed suicide to join you in the afterlife. You threw your arms wide open, desperately trying to stop her. But your spectral body grasped nothing but empty air. You didn't understand why. Why treat you like a mere plaything? And why go to such lengths to avenge you? Your heart felt like it was being ripped to shreds. When you opened your eyes again, you found that you had been reborn back in Wynter's Rose Manor. But before you could even process the situation, you locked eyes with a pair of dangerously bewitching eyes. The woman slightly raised an eyebrow. Without my permission, you dare to zone out? I looked at the furious Wynter right in front of me. Instead of feeling terrified, I put on a meek expression and sweetly called her Master. Right after that, I planted a massive sloppy kiss right on her cheek. This single action completely short-circuited the woman who was holding a rope. Her domineering aura seemed to shatter into a million pieces instantly. Call me wifey, okay? I'll give you my life. After a night of entangled passion, I paid a billionaire's price. The next day, when I finally opened my eyes, I found the space beside me completely empty. Only the crimson evidence on the snowy white bedsheets stood out glaringly. Thinking back to everything that happened in my previous life, I suddenly had a very bold idea regarding this woman. At the end of the day, in my past life, it was her who helped me get my revenge. And she gave up her life, her struggles, and everything she had built over a lifetime just to do it. Besides, last night was actually her first time. Why not try to actually get along with her in this life, even if she might be a naturally paranoid yandere? Beep, beep, beep. Right at that moment, my phone started buzzing relentlessly. It was my absolute best bro, Sammy. Bro, don't do anything stupid now! So what if your confession got rejected by the campus belle? There's plenty of fish in the sea. Sophomore year is starting soon. That'll help you forget all your troubles. Oh, by the way, do you want me to send another cake to the campus belle to try and win her back? My thoughts snapped back to reality. My memory of the timeline was spot on. The campus belle Sammy was talking about was Nina, that absolute Breaking Bad wannabe who gave me a green hat and poisoned me in my past life. Who the heck wants to keep being her simp and send a cake to win her back? Yeah, right. But then again, I've been reborn. That means everything can still be changed. Who knows, maybe I can become a billionaire before I hit 30 this time. As for Nina, that toxic poison master, the absolute worst her autopsy report would show is human tissue found amongst a pile of toxic needles. But before that, I need to do my best to stabilize Wynter. I worked my butt off to get into a good university. I definitely can't get expelled for being locked up in a basement again. Thinking of this, I dragged myself out of bed. I walked into the bathroom, ready to freshen up. I looked at myself in the mirrors, sporting a mop of awful blonde hair, dressed like a total absolute clown. No wonder I looked so basic back then. With that in mind, I quickly changed into some normal clothes. I left the manor and found a barber shop. After dyeing my hair back to black and getting a fresh trim, I felt fantastic. I happened to walk past a bakery. Remembering that Wynter loved strawberry cake, I conveniently bought a slice for her. Right at that moment, Nina called me. Gavin, although you've been really good to me all these years, I still want to focus on my studies first. Also, I hope you can have a little self-awareness. I really don't like you. But if you stop being nice to me just because I rejected you, then I'll think you didn't like me as much as you claimed in your love letters. She rattled off a whole bunch of nonsense. I almost had a brain aneurysm listening to her. Nina, go get your brain checked, seriously. After dropping that bomb, I quickly hung up the phone, hanging up right on the spot before the opponent could even finish casting her spell. Ah, that felt satisfying. Right then, a Maybach slowly pulled up beside me. The muscular butler Luke scooped me up with one hand and tossed me into the car. Dressed in a sharp black suit, Wynter was sitting in the back seat. She held a slender women's cigarette between her fingertips. Frowning slightly, she took a drag. You ran away again. Only then did I realize my fatal mistake. I had left the Rose Manor just to get a haircut. Not reporting to Wynter was bad enough, but I had even just answered a call from Nina. Wynter reached out and gently caressed my face. But baby, were you just on the phone with Nina? As soon as she finished speaking, she dominantly pulled me into her embrace. Before I could even react, Wynter's lips crashed onto mine, silencing me. She paused to catch her breath. You're being a bad boy. I should have locked you up a long time ago. Maybe iron chains would suit you better, but I really can't bear to break your legs. I could barely breathe. I gasped for air heavily. You misunderstood me, big sister. A dangerous glint flashed in Wynter's eyes. Big sister master. After correcting myself, I pulled out the strawberry cake. I went out because I wanted to buy you a cake, and I got a haircut while I was at it. I had absolutely no intention of running away. Wynter looked surprised. Her pitch-black eyes scrutinized me closely. I tried my best to look as utterly sincere as possible. I've already thought it through. You've been sponsoring my education all these years. Not to mention what happened between us last night. I will take responsibility for you. Honestly, if I hadn't fought back so fiercely in my past life, I wouldn't have been imprisoned by Wynter for 2 whole years. And I wouldn't have been expelled from school either. Hearing this, Wynter narrowed her eyes. The aura around her became increasingly dangerous. The next second, she bit my lip, almost like a punishment. I sucked in a sharp breath of cold air. I knew this woman's temper all too well. She was a literal demon king. Going along with her was the only way to survive. Going against her would only result in worse bullying. I hesitantly tried to respond to her kiss. This single action made Wynter almost lose control entirely. Even if she kissed me until I suffocated, she'd gladly sink into it. I gasped for air greedily. Unable to resist, I asked, wanting more. Do you want to continue? Wynter completely exploded in anger upon hearing this. What kind of trick are you playing now? Remember this, all of your time, every minute, every second, belongs to me. You will never ever escape in this lifetime. I finally realized my mistake. In the past, to escape from Wynter's side, I had literally tried every trick in the book, including this exact fake submission tactic, which I think I just used last month. No wonder Wynter didn't buy it. I sighed and looked at Wynter seriously. I don't like Nina anymore. You're infinitely better than her in every way. I can't possibly stay blind forever, right? I just hope you won't lock me up. I worked so hard to get into Yi University. I really don't want to get expelled. I also want to make enough money in the future, so I can bring my parents to U City to enjoy a good life. Hearing these words, the murderous aura around Wynter instantly vanished. It was like she transformed from a bloodthirsty tiger into an adorable kitten. Really? Seeing that my smooth talking was working, I kept going. I truly am willing to stay by your side. I won't run away ever again. Wynter stayed silent for a long time before finally relenting. I was safely escorted back to the Rose Manor. Wynter looked down at the strawberry cake in her hands. I know these might all just be tricks to deceive me, but I gladly accept them. If you're still planning to run away, then I'll... Various dark thoughts flashed through Wynter's mind. Meanwhile, Nina looked incredibly shocked. He actually rejected me? Her bestie, Chloe, asked. When is Gavin bringing the milk tea over? We're about to die of the heat here. I haven't had the chance to tell him yet. Nina frowned slightly. And he actually insulted me just now. He dared to insult you? With his low-tier status. He should be grateful just to be friends with a goddess like you. Chloe snatched Nina's phone and furiously typed a message to me. If you don't buy me milk tea for a whole month when you get back to campus, we won't even be friends anymore. Seeing the message sent from Nina's account, my eye twitched. Nina wasn't even worth a single strand of Wynter's hair. I turned off my phone. I planned to find Wynter to discuss lifting my grounding order. After all, I wanted to make some extra cash before the semester started. Sadly, because of my numerous escape attempts in the past, the legendary black card Wynter had given me was still completely frozen to this day. Otherwise, I'd be out there building my business empire right now. Inside the Rose Manor villa, Wynter was draped in a light apricot lace nightgown. Her curvaceous figure lounged gracefully on the sofa. Wynter rested her head on her left hand and held a book in her right. Her demeanor was elegant yet wonderfully decadent, a woman as beautiful as an immortal. I knocked and walked in. Wynter, I want to discuss something with you. Wynter lifted her eyes to look at me. Using a commanding tone, she called me over. Speak. It's summer break right now. I want to go out and make some money myself before school starts, so I might not be at the manor during the day. But I promise I'll be back at night, is that okay? Surprisingly, Wynter agreed very readily this time. Fine, let old Luke go with you. She actually agreed. Be back before dark, otherwise I will get angry. I almost couldn't believe it. Aren't you going to be worried? What I mean is you can install some kind of listening device on my phone, or a GPS tracker, or whatever. I'll fully cooperate. Wynter gave a cold, knowing smirk. Already installed. No wonder I could never escape in my past life. But if that was the case, it was literally impossible for me to escape her grasp in my past life. So, restricting my freedom back then was entirely her unilateral decision. After a very, very long silence, I finally couldn't hold it in and said, I'm sorry, I ruined your garden before. It doesn't matter. Wynter lowered her eyes slightly and raised her noble jade-like fingers to turn another page. By the way, why do you like red roses so much? I don't like them. But you planted so many. Because Wynter's voice grew softer and softer, eventually turning into light, rhythmic breathing. Only then did I realize Wynter had fallen asleep at some point. Seeing her asleep, I took off my trench coat and gently draped it over her. Psst, psst, my phone vibrated. Butler Luke had sent a message. Mr. Gavin, are you with Boss Wynter? She fell asleep. Are you kidding me? Boss Wynter's mental state has been extremely terrible lately. She just went 3 days straight without sleeping a few days ago. We even arranged for a psychological counselor. If she really fell asleep, whatever you do, don't wake her up. 3 days straight without sleeping? Hearing that, I maintained my current posture for the entire afternoon. Looking at the dark circles under Wynter's eyes, my heart suddenly ached for her. So, I consulted Dr. Wright about Wynter's condition. Rather than saying Boss Wynter likes red roses, it's more accurate to say she relies on them. Ever since you ruined all the red roses in the sunroom, she hasn't had a good night's sleep in a long time. Her current mental state is actually quite concerning. She seems to be constantly terrified of losing something. I took a sharp breath. Anxiety, huh? I remembered that keeping fish could help relieve anxiety. Perfect timing. I was just about to head out to make some money. Once I made some cash, I'd buy some fish for Wynter. With that decided, I got ready to head out. Mr. Gavin, you haven't taken your car keys yet. Seeing me about to leave, Butler Luke hurried over. Honestly, some details from my past life were a bit blurry. I have a car? Butler Luke nodded. Boss Wynter gave them all to you. I briefly glanced at the car keys in his hand. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Pagani, a dazzling array of purely luxury supercars. All right, which key is mine? All of them. I looked around at all those keys again and took a massive, sharp intake of air. What did you just say? Then what the heck was I supposed to be striving for after being reborn? Isn't hugging a rich sugar mommy's thigh the best thing ever? What was I being so incredibly arrogant for in my past life? 10 minutes later, I drove the Bugatti Veyron to the downstairs of Sammy's apartment. Seeing me pulling up in a hypercar, Sammy bombarded me with a mix of mockery and intense envy. Then, after I explained the whole situation to him, he looked at me in absolute disbelief. Hurry up and get in! I still want to use my $500 to start a business. Shortly after, we drove to the wholesale clothing market. I immediately decided to use the hypercar and black stockings as a gimmick. I made my best bro put on a black maid outfit to sell the stockings. Just tell them you're selling authentic scent premium stockings. In just 10 minutes, the stockings we bought for $10 and sold for $200 were completely sold out. Even the usually unshakable Butler Luke was left speechless. Right at that moment, Butler Luke received a phone call. It was from Wynter. Why didn't Gavin answer my call? Her cold voice was terrifyingly calm, but the turbulent undercurrent beneath that calm surface felt like it was about to swallow everything whole. Her eyes were fixed deeply on the photo on her phone screen. In the photo, another woman appeared right next to me, wearing a maid outfit and black stockings. So incredibly vulgar. He doesn't like Nina anymore, so he just swapped her for another woman. Interesting. Wynter's words were laced with ice shards, bone-chillingly cold. As night fell and a light drizzle began, I remained completely oblivious to the impending doom. 50 pairs of stockings sold out in just half an hour. With this kind of absurd profit margin, could I really bear to stop? Absolutely not. Not a chance. So I turned right around and bought 100 more pairs, making my bro continue to wear the outfit and bait the simps. Half an hour later, the 100 pairs were smoothly sold out too. Today's net income was actually a whopping $25,600. Right at that moment, Sammy received a message. It was from Nina. Sammy, did you manage to get the contact info of that guy in the Ferrari? Please, I really need it. Sammy rolled his eyes hard. He couldn't resist sending my contact info to Nina. Stop joking around, Sammy. I genuinely treat you as a friend. How could Gavin possibly be the owner of a Ferrari? So you do know that Gavin doesn't have much money on him, huh? He's always worked part-time to pay for his studies. He couldn't even bear to spend the money he earned on himself. Whatever you said you wanted, he'd save up just to buy it for you. If you don't like him, just reject him and be done with it. Isn't it disgusting to just keep stringing him along? Looking down on people with those snobby dog eyes, aren't you? Come to the Golden Lotus wholesale market. Today is a literal protagonist-level face-slapping scene. The Gavin you look down on is now not only a handsome guy, but also the distinguished owner of a Ferrari. Receiving the location pin, Nina couldn't help but frown. Did Sammy have some kind of delusional disorder? But as it happened, she was already at the Golden Lotus wholesale market. She clicked on the location pin and took a look, realizing it was only about 200 meters away. Should we go take a look? Nina frowned and said to Preston. Sammy might have lost his mind. He said Gavin is the owner of a Bugatti Veyron, and he said they're right here at the Golden Lotus wholesale market. How is that even possible? Preston adjusted his glasses, trying to look mature. Since that's the case, why don't we go see for ourselves, the distinguished Bugatti Veyron owner? Before long, they arrived at the pinned location, except they only saw a miss in a maid outfit selling black stockings. She looked playful and vibrant. The key was that this level of beauty could actually rival Nina's. See, I told you. How could Gavin possibly be a Bugatti Veyron owner? Chloe rolled her eyes. A faint look of disappointment appeared in Nina's eyes. Just as she was about to step forward to get a closer look, a dozen people in black suits holding black umbrellas approached from the distance. Walking at the forefront of the group was a woman, dressed in a dark, tailored suit. Her high heels clicked with a formidable, commanding rhythm with every step. When this group appeared, everyone on the street had their attention completely drawn to them. This was the terrifying gap between the ultra-rich and ordinary people. Nina stared blankly at the woman's retreating back. For the first time in her life, she felt it hard to breathe. Just who was she? She had grown up surrounded by stars and compliments. But just now, when she saw Wynter, she fell into a deep pit of inferiority. Even the only thing she could boast about, her beauty, was defeated without even putting up a fight. She was just about to walk up and get another look, when she realized the woman had already gotten into a Rolls-Royce Phantom. After that, the Bugatti Veyron followed suit and drove away together. Meanwhile, inside the car, Wynter took off her rain-soaked suit jacket. My breath hitched, but before I could even react, Wynter dominantly grabbed both my hands and pinned me against the seat in a wall-down. The woman's aggressive kiss fell without any room for argument. Why can't you just learn to be a good boy? I had just tried to reach out and resist when the woman intertwined her fingers with mine and pressed them against the seat behind my back. Wynter, what's wrong with you? She lifted her eyes, glowing with a burning, dangerous light. Why were you with another woman? I was stunned, and then finally realized she was talking about Sammy. I thoroughly explained the whole situation. Actually, I could have come back much earlier today, but Dr. Wright said you've been quite anxious lately, so I thought I'd buy something to help you relax. But the moment those words left my mouth, Wynter became even more unhinged. Every inch of your skin, every organ in your body belongs to me. When I finally got home, I popped the car's trunk. I brought out the ranchu goldfish I had bought earlier, and went to the main hall to find Wynter. I heard keeping fish can help relieve anxiety. The boss said ranchu fish come in many different colors. The two I bought are snow leopard and red and white. Inside the fish tank, the two ranchu fish were happily blowing bubbles. Standing nearby, Assistant Quinn couldn't help but complain. These fish are kinda ugly, aren't they? Their heads look like they have a giant tumor growing on them. Plus, they look totally brainless. I heard they're hard to keep alive too. Butler Luke glared at Quinn. This idiot still hadn't read the room. Wynter pulled a butterfly knife out of a drawer, spinning it nimbly around her fingers. She stared deeply at the ranchu fish in the tank, an aura of absolute carnage radiating from her. Quinn kept running his mouth. Mr. Gavin, didn't you know? Our boss Wynter has absolutely zero interest in fish. Before he could even finish his sentence, Wynter had already flipped the butterfly knife right up to Quinn's neck. Have you said enough? If you don't know how to use your tongue, I can cut it off for you. Quinn swallowed hard and panicked, apologizing profusely. I'm sorry, Boss Wynter. Butler Luke wore a face of pure schadenfreude. I think the two fish Mr. Gavin gifted show a lot of thought. And the fact that Mr. Gavin thought of Boss Wynter right after making his first bit of money proves he cares. After those words, the violent aura around Wynter dissipated significantly. She turned her back. Call them Little Dot and Little Flower. I was stunned. What kind of development was this? I just turned my head about to ask Wynter, only to find her gazing at me with incredibly gentle eyes, completely different from her murderous look just seconds ago. She almost gave off the vibe of a little puppy begging for praise, as if asking, those are great names, right? The next morning, I was in the kitchen making breakfast. Butler Luke stood to the side looking like it physically pained him. Mr. Gavin, how about we just let the auntie make breakfast? What he was actually agonizing over was the pot, a fully glazed clay pot. A pot worth a cool $70,000. It's fine. While stirring the slightly burnt bottom of the clay pot with a spoon, I replied, sweating bullets. Cooking congee, you know? You gotta wake up early. Butler Luke ruthlessly exposed me. And since you burnt it, you certainly have time to start a new batch. Right at that moment, the sound of the elevator echoed through the manor. Wynter walked into the kitchen wearing slippers. She stood on her tiptoes and rested her chin on my shoulder, staring at me with an intensely deep gaze, not even trying to hide the wildness in her eyes, fervent and crazy. I sucked in a sharp breath. I wasn't trying to run away. Your health hasn't been great lately. I made some herbal congee. Drinking it will help replenish your vitality and blood. She gently wrapped her arms around my waist. Next time you make congee, remember to stir the bottom so it doesn't burn. Only then did I realize that I had indeed burnt it. I should probably make a fresh pot. No need. Don't waste it. Wynter slowly and methodically finished the congee. Every movement she made was incredibly elegant. She replied with absolute certainty. It's delicious. I was highly suspicious and, not believing her, took a bite myself. Wynter, are you sure? Her eyes locked onto mine. You just ate the congee I drank from. My good puppy has become proactive, hasn't he? After breakfast, Wynter drove the Ferrari to drop me off at school. University. Students in the hallway were buzzing non-stop about a recent event in U-City. Couple days ago, a hypercar showed up in our city. I heard it belongs to some ultra-rich heiress. And for the past 2 days, they've been selling black stockings everywhere. I heard they're going for $200 a pair. Those stinky men really have absolutely no morals. If it were me, I'd buy a whole freaking basket of them. Nina walked into the classroom wearing a blue sailor dress. Her long, slender legs were adorned with sheer white stockings. Paired with black leather boots, she looked pure and cute. Carrying her backpack, faint dark circles were visible under her eyes. She complained to Chloe about the events of the past few days. Beside her, Chloe grumbled unhappily. Did Gavin really just stop paying attention to you after that? Nina bit her lip. He might just be in a bad mood lately. Mentioning this made Chloe instantly furious. She brought up the time I privately insulted her. Other students, hearing the commotion, rushed over to eat the gossip. If Nina actually accepted his confession, it'd truly be a case of a beautiful flower stuck in cow dung. Hearing everyone talk like this, Sammy couldn't help but shoot back angrily. What's wrong with confessing? Isn't it perfectly normal to express your feelings to someone you like? Nina, you're so shameless. You keep saying you treat Gavin as a friend, yet you just let everyone mock him like this. Just then, gasps of pure shock erupted from the students outside the classroom. A Lamborghini. I'm not seeing things, am I? That car costs like 8 or 9 million. The Lamborghini parked in the lot was indeed incredibly sick. It made the $1 million BMW parked next to it look like a cheap minivan. Preston, hearing the chatter, couldn't help but chime in smugly. What car are you guys looking at? Is it the BMW? Sorry for showing off. My old man insisted on driving me to school today. He said this deliberately, wanting to flex in front of Nina. Your family is really impressive, Preston, Nina replied absent-mindedly, brushing him off. Her eyes remained glued to the parking lot. When Preston saw that Lamborghini, he was absolutely dumbfounded. At that moment, someone gasped, "Look over there, there's a super handsome guy!" Sunlight poured down the end of the corridor. A tall, lean figure stepped out. Even though he was wearing ordinary clothes, his aura was out of this world. His facial features were sharp and heroic, with looks that could easily crush the official campus heartthrob. Nina and the others were stunned. They had seen this handsome guy at the Golden Lotus Market before. He was actually their classmate. I casually strolled over to Sammy. What are you standing out there acting like a fool with them for? Go sit inside. I brought you breakfast. I dragged Sammy into the classroom and pulled out a ridiculously luxurious breakfast from my backpack. Foie gras sushi, pre-shelled king crab meat, braised black lip abalone. Sammy's eyes practically bulged out of his head. My liege, you really didn't have to spend so much on me, I casually replied. Didn't cost me a dime, just grabbed it from the kitchen at home. Many female classmates nearby were already starstruck watching this. Is this what a real tall, rich, and handsome guy looks like? What kind of normal person eats a breakfast like this? Even Nina couldn't resist following us into the classroom. Sammy was secretly loving every second of it. Weren't you all saying my boy Gav was ugly? What's going on, chat? Why are you all suddenly simping? After all, my boy Gav is the distinguished owner of a Bugatti. Speaking of luxury cars, however, Sammy suddenly felt the king crab meat in his mouth lose its flavor. Gav, man, another Lamborghini drove into our school this morning. Why are there so many hypercars around lately? What? A Bugatti? I calmly pulled the Lamborghini car keys from my pocket and tossed them to Sammy, lending this to you to play with for a couple of days. Stop cursing your daddy. Sammy winked and grimaced, pretending to be furious. You're a real menace, you know that? Can't stand seeing your brother suffer, but you also can't stand seeing your brother drive a Range Rover. Bro, you seriously drive everything but a Range Rover, don't you? The other classmates standing nearby were completely flabbergasted. What the heck was happening? Not only was this new male classmate incredibly handsome, but his ride was a freaking Lamborghini. That multi-million-dollar beast in the parking lot was actually his car. Gavin, you absolute beast. Sammy couldn't help but wail. And as those earth-shattering words dropped, everyone present froze, as if they'd been petrified by Medusa. They stared at me in absolute shock. This insanely handsome guy in front of them was actually Gavin. Some students, recovering from the shock, immediately started kissing up. Having this kind of high-tier connection as a classmate, only an idiot wouldn't try to kiss up. Nina felt a pang of loss. Why hadn't he come up to talk to me on his own initiative? Her bestie Chloe smiled and comforted her. Nina, don't worry, he's just playing hard to get. He'll definitely come begging to you in a bit. Hearing this, Nina felt much more at ease. She made a mental note, planning to investigate my family background later. Just then, the teacher, Mr. Carter, walked into the classroom. He started assigning the group leaders to collect the summer assignments. Then he pulled out the attendance sheet, looking a bit surprised. Why hasn't Gavin checked in for the past half month? I walked up to Mr. Carter with my summer assignment. Mr. Carter, this is pretty much it. Mr. Carter was silent for a long time, unable to speak. You handsome student, you're not from our class, are you? You're almost as handsome as I was in my youth. I flashed a grin. Teacher, the videos are all on this USB drive. Nearby, Preston urged maliciously. Teacher, you should take a look at the assignment Gavin submitted. It's all meaningful stuff. We're all quite curious to see how he managed on his own after ditching our group. Mr. Carter finally snapped back to reality. But the moment he read the first line, he was completely stunned. Made 80K selling's black stockings attach. Video recording detailing the entire process. What the heck? You can make $80,000 in a week selling black stockings. Preston, who was standing nearby, saw the line of text. His brain instantly blue-screened. Bullcrap. How could selling stockings be that profitable? But the moment the words black stockings left his mouth, Preston froze. He had recently seen someone selling black stockings too. I put my hands in my pockets and looked at Preston calmly. First, hire a beautiful maid to be your salesperson. Second, give her some basic sales training. Finally, prep a Bugatti Veyron. Simple, right? Nina's eyes widened drastically. She remembered that I brought Lamborghini keys today. Could it be? It took Preston a long time to snap back. Teacher, why don't we play the video and take a look? But the moment the video started playing, the entire room fell dead silent. In the video, everyone saw the Bugatti Veyron, and I was stepping out of the passenger seat of that very car. The class group chat completely exploded. Seeing this, they were too shocked to even type coherently. Was this the legendary capital VIP aura? Preston felt like his face was being slapped repeatedly. He hadn't expected the face slapping to come so swiftly and brutally. I grinned. There's more, teacher. We only watched half. The rest of it is the process of me doing charity and building my public image. But hearing this, Preston reached over and shut off the video. Are you kidding me? That explosive video just now was only half of it? If they kept watching, it'd be a disaster for him. Furthermore, he had already noticed that Nina had been staring at me almost the entire time. But unexpectedly, Nina stood up. Teacher, please keep playing. After all, as a good friend, I'm also very invested in his academic progress. I raised an eyebrow. Friends? Only then did Nina realize what she'd done. Was she too eager? Why would she admit to being Gavin's friend in front of the whole class? However, in the very next second, I spoke in a lazy, drawling tone. You and I are from two completely different worlds. To me, you're nothing but a ridiculously vain, incredibly mediocre NPC. I would never be friends with someone like you. Triple kill. Nina felt like something was lodged in her throat. She stared in utter disbelief, unable to comprehend that I would actually say something like that. She felt an overwhelming sense of powerlessness right now, because these were the exact words she had said to me countless times before. The video continued to play. I spent a full $40,000 buying books, and donated them all to that elementary school. The most important part was my speech at the school. Preston was dumbfounded. He didn't expect me to have done so much, and to have done it with such undeniable class. Mr. Carter couldn't help but start clapping. Good, good, good. This is truly the first time I've seen a student like this. Gavin, you actually have a shot at the first prize. Nina was even more devastated. She never imagined the boy she had rejected could be this outstanding. She couldn't help but carefully observe me. The young man before her now carried himself with imposing dignity. Every gesture exuded a confident, natural grace, completely devoid of the groveling servitude from the past. For some reason, Nina suddenly felt a bit wronged. Didn't he say he would always like me? Why did he say such harsh things to me just now? Rose Manor. I was sitting in the son's room scrolling on my phone. Right then, Nina called. I decisively hung up. Unable to get through on the phone, she simply resorted to texting. Can you please stop playing hard to get with me? As long as you pass my test, I might consider being with you. Are you really sure you want to miss out on me? You'll have a very hard time finding a girlfriend better than me. I decisively typed back. Go find a mirror and take a good look at yourself. If you don't have one, just pee in a puddle and look at your reflection. I then decisively blocked Nina's number, just to avoid this crazy chick having another episode and Wynter seeing it. Right at that moment, Wynter pushed the door open and walked in. Her eyes were filled with exhaustion, and she looked so weak she could barely stand. The corners of her eyes were tinged with red, and her cold, clear voice carried a hint of grievance. Gavin, I hurt. I want a hug. The last two words were so soft, the ending syllables were almost inaudible. The Wynter standing before me leaned weakly against the doorframe. She was draped in a light brown trench coat, over a white blouse and black wide-leg pants, and wearing a pair of 10-centimeter high heels. That peerlessly beautiful face was now completely devoid of color, pale to the point of looking sickly. I rushed over immediately and caught Wynter in my arms. Only then did I realize her body temperature was terrifyingly high, and she smelled faintly of alcohol. Wynter, what happened? Assistant Quinn saw this scene, and his jaw practically hit the floor. Just a few minutes ago, Boss Wynter was acting perfectly fine, striding in those 10-centimeter killer heels like she was walking on flat ground, all the way up to the outside of the sunroom. But now? Boss Wynter, what kind of act are you pulling here? Boss Wynter, are you sick? Boss Wynter, this illness of yours is very serious. He couldn't help but ask. Boss Wynter, weren't you just Before he could finish his sentence, the seemingly harmless Wynter resting in my arms shot him a fierce, lethal glare. Quinn accepted his fate. Boss Wynter's business dinner today was at a seaside restaurant, but the wind was too strong. She must have caught a cold. You need to take good care of her. I'll go brew some cold medicine for the boss. I laid Wynter down on the sofa. Do you have a fever? Does your head hurt a lot? Just then, Quinn came over with the freshly brewed cold medicine. Boss Wynter, please drink your medicine. Wynter turned her head away. I won't drink it. What if it's poisoned? Seeing this, I took the water cup from Quinn. Wynter, let me feed you. Quinn clicked his tongue. You've only been here for how long? I've been with Boss Wynter for 10 years, and she still doesn't trust me. But the moment Wynter heard me, she shifted her body and turned around to drink. Even I was a bit surprised. Wasn't Wynter afraid I'd poison her? A flash of a sickly, flirtatious smile passed through Wynter's seemingly innocent, drunken eyes. If you want me to die, you don't have to do it yourself. I'm very obedient. I picked Wynter up in my arms. Let's go back to your room so you can sleep. Wynter leaned into my embrace, her voice growing even softer. Stay and keep me company. In a rare breaking of protocol, I actively stayed with Wynter for the entire night. The next morning in the classroom, Nina pulled a lunchbox out of her backpack. Then she walked over to my desk. You used to bring me breakfast before, so today I personally made breakfast just for you. Saying that, she opened the lunchbox and placed it on my desk. I hope you like it. We're still good friends after this, right? As soon as the words left her mouth, the classroom completely erupted. The campus belle actually took the initiative to make breakfast for him. I glanced at Nina. I don't want it. I picked up the lunchbox and shoved it back in front of Nina. Are you going to eat this? I'm not. Nina shook her head. She had carefully prepared this for me. Consequently, I turned around and dumped the entire lunchbox, breakfast and all, straight into the trash can. See? Even a dog wouldn't eat it. She widened her eyes drastically. Did you just call me a dog? Whoever it applies to claims it. I added with a slight smile. What are you barking about anyway? Everyone took a collective sharp breath. Was Gavin crazy or just stupid? This was breakfast made personally by the campus belle. Not only did he throw it in the trash, he even called Nina a dog. Nina was utterly dumbfounded too. Why are you treating me like this? Am I not pretty enough? Was I not good enough to you? Why? Just because I rejected your confession once. Do you have to act like this? You must be doing this to make me mad, right? You're just trying to make me mad, aren't you? Nina asked, her eyes red with tears. Right at that moment, an aura of extreme, bone-chilling cold swept over Nina's entire body. She felt the source of the cold coming from behind her. Instantly, she met a pair of cold eyes that seemed to have emerged straight from hell. A breathtakingly beautiful woman stood in the corridors outside the classroom, draped in an exquisitely tailored suit. Those impossibly beautiful eyes stared at Nina as if looking at a corpse. Nina had never seen anyone with such an overwhelming aura. It made her legs uncontrollably weak. At that moment, she suddenly thought of a term often used in TV dramas. It was called spiritual pressure. Nina's legs finally gave out. She collapsed weakly onto a nearby chair. The principal, who was leading the way, saw Wynter stop and asked cautiously, Director Wynter, what's wrong? Wynter withdrew her gaze and said in a calm tone, the school's admission standards still leave much to be desired. She gave Nina a meaningful look and resumed her brisk walk away. The principal mentally flagged Nina's existence. He'd have to look into this student's background, see if she had broken any rules. If she had, discipline her immediately. If the problems were severe, expel her directly. Nina gasped for air. She couldn't believe that just as she wanted to make a change, she was suddenly facing the risk of expulsion. What a terrifying woman. Just then, the class monitor, Preston, walked up to me. The teacher wants you to go to the principal's office. I was a bit confused by the situation. I figured it probably had something to do with Wynter. The female demon king's jealousy jar must have tipped over. Principal's office. When I arrived at the door, I vaguely heard the sound of a piano coming from inside. In the darkened room, only a single beam of light pierced through the gap in the curtains. Wynter, wearing a snow-white cheapao, sat at the piano. Her side profile was so flawless she looked like a goddess. My breath hitched as I closed the office door behind me. Even knowing that the woman before me was a disguised demoness, I still couldn't control my heart from wanting to constantly walk towards her. Wynter, I remember you liked the song Praise to the Tess River. I'll play it for you. Don't be mad. With that, my fingers began to dance nimbly across the keys. Wynter lifted her eyes and shot me a glance. A glimmer of unfathomable light flashed in her eyes. Soon, her fingers joined mine in playing the melody, a four-handed duet. The scene was like a beautiful dream, yet the styles of their playing were distinctly different. Wynter's playing was decisive and lethal, while mine was uplifting and passionate. Soon the song came to an end. I stood up and explained, "Don't be mad anymore. After drinking the kanji you made, how could I possibly stomach Nina's breakfast?" Before I could finish, Wynter's kisses rained down on me overwhelmingly, as if she wanted to devour me whole. Gavin, forget about Nina. Sink into oblivion with me. The opening ceremony began. I arrived just in the nick of time, Sammy asked anxiously. Are you okay? I shook my head. Why are you so nervous? How can I not be nervous? Only then did Sammy tell me what had happened. Nina was already packing her bags and getting ready to leave. She couldn't return to school for a whole week. Rumor had it she made a mistake, but it was highly likely related to that director Wynter. Good heavens. She just gave me breakfast, and she got slapped with a 1-week suspension to reflect on her actions at home. Wynter's possessiveness. How on earth did she tolerate me marrying Nina in my past life? At that moment, Preston was helping Nina pack her bags. He was comforting Nina. It's okay, it's okay. He seemed to have made up his mind. It must be that school director who has a problem with you. Later, when I go on stage to receive my award, I'll seek justice for you. Nina panicked. The reason she was being punished was because the principal found out she was secretly keeping close relations with many male university students. And he wants to seek justice? Does he think her reputation isn't getting ruined fast enough? She glared fiercely at Preston. If you dare to confront the school director, I will never speak another word to you in this lifetime. Otherwise, we're through. Watching Nina's retreating figure, Preston felt a bitter taste in his mouth. If I can't even stand up for the woman I love, then what kind of man am I? So what if she's a school director? Others might be afraid of you, but I am not. The entire opening ceremony was incredibly dull and boring, until the principal announced, "Next, please welcome Director Wynter to the stage for a speech." A beautiful silhouette walked towards the podium. Wynter was wearing an incredibly form-fitting snowy kippao. She looked dignified and elegant. Her gait was graceful. Wynter's mood was clearly excellent right now. The murderous aura around her had retracted significantly. Right now, she looked like nothing more than a slightly aloof, elegant, and intellectual woman. Soon, it was Preston's turn to receive his award. Don't worry, Nina. Once I go up and get my award, I'll get justice for you. Not even God himself can bully you. With that, he glared fiercely at the podium where Wynter stood. As he walked towards the stage, Preston suddenly found his footsteps feeling heavier and heavier. The moment he walked towards Wynter, he felt his very soul tremble with her presence. His breathing became increasingly heavy. Finally, Preston struggled his way to stand in front of Wynter. Wynter didn't even bat an eyelid. Sophomore year, Class 1, Computer Science Department, Preston's group, 3rd prize. The principal handed the certificate and prize money to Preston. Congratulations, student Preston. Preston clutched the certificate and money tightly. His internal struggle reached its absolute peak. Damn it! He shouldn't be this afraid. He had to stand up for his classmate, Nina. Wynter raised an eyebrow. Is there a problem? A murderous intent brewed within those deep, jewel-like, exquisite eyes. Her calm tone was completely devoid of emotion. Preston was instantly engulfed by an endless pressure. No, no! Preston opened his mouth, taking a long time before he could make a sound. Wynter casually withdrew her gaze. Finally, Wynter read the name she liked best. Sophomore year, Class 1, Computer Science Department, Gavin, 1st prize. The moment I stepped on stage, the entire crowd gasped in awe. He's so handsome, man. His legs are literally longer than my lifespan. The school heartthrob looks like absolute trash standing next to him, okay? The students offstage went completely wild. Wynter personally handed the certificate and prize money into my hands. Her aura changed right along with it. When our hands touched, she lingeringly and gently stroked my palm with her fingertips. I looked up and met Wynter's eyes, which were brimming with tender affection. I left amidst the shocked and envious gazes of the crowd. Everyone was completely stunned. The fairy sister actually smiled. This director Wynter is actually a total simp for good looks. But then again, that boy just now was indeed incredibly handsome. That scene just now caused a huge sensation across the entire Yi University. Even I could hear people gossiping about it in the hallways. Gavman, Sammy excitedly patted my shoulder. I wasn't seeing things just now, was I? The Ice Beauty actually smiled at you. Do you and the Ice Beauty know each other? How did you two even end up talking? I smiled and said, what kind of relationship could we possibly have? Just a deeply intimate one. Sammy froze. Deeply intimate? Sammy felt like his CPU was about to freaking explode. After today's classes ended, I was rushing home when I bumped right into Nina. The girl was wearing a flowing water blue dress. Her black hair cascaded loosely down her waist. Upon seeing me, she quickened her pace and walked over. You're here too! Suddenly, she caught sight of the milk tea ingredients I had bought. Remembering her previous demand that I buy her milk tea for a month, Nina's eyes lit up immediately. And here I thought you really didn't want me anymore. I looked at Nina, utterly confused. Did you not do the thing I told you to do? If you don't have a mirror, you must have some pee, right? What makes you think you can even catch my eye? Nina almost had a heart attack. Why do you always have to treat me like this? Nina just couldn't understand. Didn't I just reject your confession once? Even if we can't be lovers, we could still be friends. Chloe also walked over and saw the scene. She instantly blew a gasket. Do you even know who you're raising your voice at? She is Nina, the campus belle of Yi University, and the person you've liked for years and years. Sammy, hearing this, got furious too. He was just about to step forward and spit fire back. Sammy, no need. If you run into a mad dog on the street and it bites you, are you going to bite it back? I raised an eyebrow and clapped my hands. Bodyguards. Boss Wynter assigned you to protect my safety, right? What should you do if a mad dog keeps barking at me? The 3 bodyguards following behind us said in unison. Beat it up. Subsequently, the 3 bodyguards walked up to Chloe. They held iron batons in their hands and wore unfriendly expressions. Seeing this, Sammy's face split into a massive grin. Ha ha ha, you guys are finally getting what's coming to you. I'm dying of laughter. Keep barking. Come on, keep barking. Chloe and Nina could only stare helplessly. They were genuinely terrified by the aura of the 3 bodyguards in front of them. In the end, the 2 could only watch as my group and I left. Nina looked in the direction I left, her eyes red with grievance. Tears couldn't stop falling. She admitted that she was truly heartbroken right now. Once, she was the person I held closest to my heart. No matter what she wanted, I'd have it for her the very next day. Even just a month ago, when she was caught in a rainstorm at a cafe, I was the one who brought an umbrella to walk her home. Didn't I just reject him once? If he really wanted to be with me, what does it matter if he confessed to me 99 times? Nina collapsed weakly onto the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. Wynter was busy until 4 a.m. today before returning home. She was draped in a sleek, long black trench coat. When she saw me sleeping soundly on the sofa in the hall, she froze slightly. Her gaze continuously roamed over my body. Then she gently bent down and sat on the floor. This woman, usually so domineering and formidable, right now looked more like a severely wounded baby animal just wanting a moment to catch its breath. 10 minutes later, she opened a pair of cold, gloomy eyes. Wynter stood up and walked into the bathroom. You still want to leave me, don't you? Making money? Transferring the bodyguards away? Heh, these are all part of your plan. I'll give you whatever you want. I'll even give you my life. She had really wanted to just cripple me completely right then and there. But ultimately, she chose to harm herself, to forcefully suppress those violent, crazy thoughts. How could she ever bear to hurt me even the slightest bit? Wynter lay on the blood-stained floor. Tears of blood slid down her cheeks. Since you refuse to love me, then hate me for the rest of your life. The weekend. I had 2 particularly important things to do today. First, I wanted to open a milk tea shop near the school, so I started experimenting with milk tea samples. I needed to develop at least 10 recipes to start. I did a quick mental calculation. I still had over 100 grand on me. I remembered that those roses were a dark red color. Eventually, I settled on the black baccara variety. I spent $50,000 ordering 500 black baccara rose saplings. Before long, the merchant delivered the goods. I ran to the kitchen, preparing to make a cup of classic mango pomelo sago first. I'd let Wynter give it a taste later. She had a great figure. She probably paid close attention to maintaining it, so using a sugar substitute would minimize the calories as much as possible. Unfortunately, not only did I fail to make the mango pomelo sago, I also ended up slicing my hand twice with the knife. But the thought of Wynter's expression when she drank it made me look forward to it all over again. Swish! Wynter swung the meow dao in her hand with an expressionless face, cleanly and efficiently killing the man in front of her. That worthless nephew of mine, the methods he uses are becoming increasingly amateurish. She stood in a pool of blood, looking like a demon king crawling straight out of hell, holding a meow dao that was 1.6 meters long, wearing a set of black casual clothes. Butler Luke, seeing this scene, was already completely unfazed by it. Clean this place up. After the crowd dispersed, Butler Luke finally bowed respectfully to Wynter and asked, Boss Wynter, you discovered the assassins Wyatt planted in Yi City a long time ago, but why did they move the plan up and strike today? And usually, dealing with assassins like this is a job you leave for him to do. Wynter leaned lazily against the corner of the wall and closed her eyes. Half an hour later, Wynter opened her eyes, her face calm, and stood up. Old Luke, let the school know. Starting tomorrow, I won't need to go to the university anymore. Ring, ring, ring. The phone rang. She glanced down at the caller ID and answered it expressionlessly. Wynter, where are you right now? Can you come home right now? Anyway, just come back quickly. I miss you. Hearing the words I miss you, the killing intent in Wynter's eyes dissipated significantly. You miss me? Yeah, my Wynter is so pretty and super gentle, and you treat me so well. So of course, the moment I have some free time, I think of you. The hand Wynter used to hold the phone trembled slightly. A hint of disbelief seeped through her deep eyes. Wynter gave a soft, On the surface, she showed no reaction, but the violent aura surrounding her had completely vanished without a trace. It wasn't until 10 minutes later that Wynter stepped out of the car and froze. The manor had been planted with massive fields of red roses. From a distance, it looked exactly like a fiery sea of flowers. Holding the mango pomelo sago in my hands, I ran up to Wynter. You're back! I made a new type of milk tea today. It's called mango pomelo sago. Want to try it? Also, the rose bushes I ruined before, I replaced them for you today. I know I owe you far too much. Just these compensations aren't nearly enough, so if you want anything in the future, just name it. I just want you to be happy. I babbled on and on with a huge speech. But the woman in front of me showed absolutely zero reaction. I swallowed nervously. Is there nothing you want? As soon as the words left my mouth, Wynter pulled me into a crushingly tight embrace. I want you. Her tone was as certain as a devout believer standing before their God. To her, I was the chosen one, the one and only. I was faith, I was absolute truth. The mango pomelo sago in my hand almost spilled. I was initially a bit flustered, but gradually, feeling the warmth of the delicate body in my arms, my heart slowly began to settle down. I freed one hand and gently stroked Wynter's head. All right, I'm not going anywhere. In this lifetime, other than by your side, I'm not going anywhere else. My gentle voice acted like a lullaby, soothing Wynter's long, scared, battered heart. Wynter let go of me. Only then did she notice the wounds on my hand. You're hurt. I was actually still hoping to keep pitching my mango pomelo sago. Do you want to take a sip of this first? But Wynter grabbed my hand and started walking towards the manor. We'll bandage your wounds first, then talk. Inside the room. It was clearly Wynter's first time helping someone treat a wound. She stiffly brought out the first aid kit. It took her a long time to dig out the iodine and alcohol. She clumsily but earnestly helped me clean the wound. Her movements were uncharacteristically gentle. She even blew on it softly from time to time. The way she held my hand was like she was holding a priceless treasure. As a result, I immediately spotted the scars on Wynter's hands. Why do you have so many knife scars? I quickly crouched down in front of Wynter and started treating her wounds for her. Just as I finished treating and bandaging the wounds, I suddenly felt an intensely burning gaze. I looked up and met Wynter's deep, dark eyes. Wynter withdrew her gaze. She blushed unnaturally. I'll try that milk tea you mentioned. I stood up to go get it. This milk tea is called mango pomelo sago. It's made with pomelo, mango, and coconut milk. Wynter held the cup of mango pomelo sago and took a sip. Just one sip and she was completely blown away. Is it good? Seeing Wynter's reaction, I asked expectantly. Wynter had already finished the entire cup of mango pomelo sago and couldn't help but ask, is there any more? I immediately got up to go to the fridge to get more. Seeing this, Quinn was shocked once again. He suddenly felt that old Luke might actually be right. Butler Luke also wore an expression of pleasant surprise. Mr. Gavin, you make really good milk tea. Could you let me try some too? Soon, Butler Luke and Wynter gave the exact same review. You make this milk tea so well. If you set up a stall with this, it will definitely sell like crazy. At first, Quinn was still wondering. It's normal for Boss Wynter to be supportive. But why was old Luke being a hype man too? So he couldn't resist taking a sip from the mango pomelo sago in old Luke's hand. Mr. Gavin, you're amazing. This mango pomelo sago is so delicious. However, Wynter, hearing what Butler Luke had just said, finally realized what was going on. So, setting up a stall was the reason Gavin wanted to deploy the bodyguards. Butler Luke smacked his forehead hard. Oh no, Boss Wynter. I was too busy that day. I didn't have time to explain it to you clearly. It's because he's setting up over 20 stalls. That's why he needed to deploy so many bodyguards. Wynter fell silent, lowering her head in guilt. I'm sorry. I'll compensate you. Hearing this, everyone present was absolutely dumbfounded. The words "I'm sorry" actually coming out of the mouth of the arrogant, aloof Boss Wynter? Even I was totally gobsmacked. Was she possessed or something? This was a promise from the CEO of Manhwa Group. Then I really need to think hard about how to have you compensate me. Wynter gave a soft her sharp edges completely gone. Wynter, from now on, I'm going to seriously learn ingredient pairing from the nutritionist. I'm going to seriously improve my cooking skills and try not to burn the pot anymore. And I'll make herbal congee for you every morning to nourish your body. You have to be a good girl and drink it, okay? You don't want money, cars, or houses? Wynter looked at me, confused. I can give you all of those, no need. I hope that one day I can be outstanding enough to rightfully stand by your side. Wynter was silent, unable to speak. Tears began to well up in those eyes. She took a deep breath. Okay, I'll wait for you. My CEO is a yandere. To stop me from marrying the pure campus belle, she literally locked me in a basement for 2.5 years. Later, I was murdered by a conspiracy between the campus belle and my best bro. That trashy duo laughed at my funeral while plotting how to spend my inheritance. And she gave up all her power and status, personally offing the scumbag so I could rest in peace. She looked at my sleeping face and murmured to herself, why couldn't you just stay by my side? From the very beginning, all I ever wanted was you. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn back in Wynter's Rose Manor. The next afternoon, Wynter probably hadn't eaten yet at this hour, right? I looked up at Butler Luke. Butler Luke looked at me with pleasant surprise. Are you implying? What does Wynter like to eat? I want to go to the company to pick her up from work and then treat her to dinner. Speaking of this, I suddenly felt like I was being a bit of a jerk. In my past life, I was so pissed off after Wynter forced herself on me that I didn't even notice it was her first time. And even now, I had no idea what Wynter actually liked to eat. Actually, Boss Wynter really prefers vegetarian food. Butler Luke sighed. She's always been very resistant to eating meat, but constantly eating vegetarian isn't good for her health either. If you're the one making it, I think she'd probably be very happy to eat it. U City Shenhua Group. Butler Luke led the way for me, taking me straight to the top floor. I walked to the door of the conference room. Through the window I saw Wynter, dressed sharply in a suit, sitting in the head's seat. It was hard to imagine this domineering CEO was the same Wynter who had whined for hugs and acted like a baby with me last time. Wynter's other female assistant, Wang Shuhuan, pushed the door open and came out. She looked very surprised to see me. "Sir, if you want to see Boss Wynter, you'll have to wait a while longer." Just then, Quinn rushed out in a hurry. He glared at Wang Shuhuan. "You blind fool! Do you know who he is? From now on, whenever he comes, you are not allowed to stop him from going anywhere he wants." I shook my head. "I'll just wait for her outside. Let her finish her meeting in peace. I don't want to disrupt her work progress. In my past life, even when my company took off, I never let Nina exercise special privileges at the company even once, because I was afraid of people gossiping and causing management issues. Not to mention Wynter was a woman. Since I had already decided to treat her well, I should be even more considerate of her feelings in every aspect. That works too." Quinn's expression was incredibly complex. Finally, he smiled helplessly. "I think I understand why old Luke speaks so highly of you. Mr. Gavin, please continue to treat Boss Wynter well. I haven't seen her this happy in a very long time." It was 8 o'clock. I was getting a bit worried about Wynter's situation. Any later, and all the nearby restaurants would be closed. "I'll go grab some takeout. Butler Luke, give me the car keys. I need the umbrella from the trunk. I'll be right back." At that moment, Wynter searched around outside the conference room. Not finding me, a flash of disappointment crossed her eyes. The woman seemed to transform instantly from a ruthless, all-powerful CEO on the battlefield of business into a pitiful, abandoned little kitten. "Where is Gavin?" Only then did Butler Luke step forward. Gavin was worried the nearby restaurants would close and you'd go hungry, so he went out to buy food. Hearing this, a myriad of conflicting emotions flashed through Wynter's eyes. Instinctively, just like in the past, she felt this was just another one of my tricks to run away. Quinn walked up to Wynter. "Boss Wynter, are you worried he's going to run away? If you're worried, I'll send people to catch him and bring him back immediately." "No!" Wynter's eyes were firm yet gentle. "I trust him." Click. Just then, the office door was pushed open. I walked back in carrying an insulated bag. "Wynter, I'm back from hunting. This is a popular internet meme right now. You worked hard in your meeting today." Saying that, I pulled the food out of the insulated bag one by one. "Butler Luke told me you don't like eating meat, but if you go too long without protein, your body won't be able to handle it. So I bought you all seafood and stuff. I'll make sure to seriously memorize your preferences and strive to take even better care of you in the future." Wynter fell silent. She couldn't resist reaching out to touch my face. Her movements were extremely careful and tentative, as if she was terrified of popping the dream bubble she had yearned for day and night. "Gavin, you don't have to try and please me. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you." I patted Wynter's head and picked out the most beautiful piece of abalone from the lunchbox. "I'm not trying to please you. I want to take care of you." "Wynter, I recently realized something. Actually, you have your vulnerable moments too. You need someone to care for and look after you just as much. Even if you had absolutely nothing, I would still treat you just as well. Do you know that? You really have incredible charisma." After saying that, I brought the abalone to Wynter's lips. "Be a good girl and open up." This was the first time Wynter had ever been taken care of like a child. How many years had it been? It felt like she could finally hear the sound of her own heartbeat again. It was proof that she was still alive. "I don't want to eat abalone, I want to eat something else." A dark glint flashed in Wynter's eyes, as if she was desperately trying to suppress something. I smiled. Why do I feel like little Wynter is getting better and better at acting spoiled? "Picky eater it is then, so what do you want to eat?" As soon as the words left my mouth, the Wynter in front of me suddenly leaned her upper body forward. She bit my earlobe and exhaled a single word, dripping with ambiguous intent. "I'm so hot." Nina lugged the delivery boxes, struggling, as she walked on the path back to the dorms. Her eyes were brimming with tears, looking incredibly wronged. Having lost my care, she finally realized that wearing a dress and tying shoelaces was so inconvenient. She finally realized that the dozens of packages she impulsively bought online could be this insanely heavy when added together. In the past, I was always there to help her with times like this, but how could someone so good suddenly change just like that? Just thinking about this made Nina cry uncontrollably. Nearby, Preston hurriedly expressed his concern. "Nina, don't cry, I'll help you carry your things." Chloe also instinctively tried to boss Preston around. "Then, help me carry my bag too." "Thanks, Preston." Preston furrowed his brow. "Why should I help you?" "Because I'm Nina's bestie. You know how important a bestie is in a relationship, right?" Preston couldn't help but sigh. How did Gavin endure this day in and day out for 3 years? Didn't he ever feel tired at all? On the way to school, Sammy and I were chatting in the car, and we happened to see the pathetic trio outside the car window. I immediately averted my gaze. Ugh, why is there trash out there? Butler Luke, who was driving, couldn't hold back a laugh. "Haha, the young man has finally seen the light." He couldn't resist asking for gossip. "Are those people?" Sammy curled his lip. They used to take advantage of my boy Gav's foolishness, bossing him around like they were all high and mighty. Gav was really blind back then. Hearing this, Butler Luke let out a long "oh," and then accidentally shifted into reverse, and accidentally raised the Rolls-Royce's Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament. It wasn't until the car was parallel with the trio, maintaining the exact same slow pace as them. Even I was stunned for a second. It was hard to imagine the usually steady Butler Luke pulling a stunt like this. Butler Luke hummed smugly. "The scenery here is quite nice. Let's just admire it, shall we?" I couldn't help but crack a massive grin. Why didn't I realize Butler Luke was such a troll in my past life? At first, Chloe and Nina were walking together, feeling envious of the luxury car. But soon, they started feeling something was off. Especially Preston. He noticed that if he walked faster, the luxury car sped up. If he walked slower, the freaking car slowed down too. He couldn't help but turn his head to look, and locked eyes with Sammy's mocking gaze. "Hello, class monitor. Why didn't you have your daddy drive you to school in his BMW? It's such a hot day, and you're out here volunteering to be a pack mule. Isn't that exhausting?" I couldn't hold back a laugh. My good bro really is the absolute king of kicking people when they're down. Preston almost had a brain aneurysm on the spot. He was just about to start cursing and swearing when Butler Luke floored the gas pedal, leaving Preston eating a face full of exhaust fumes. He was furious. "So what if you have money? Does having money mean you can do whatever you want?" Chloe couldn't help but complain. "Preston, why didn't you have your dad drive us to school?" Preston almost had a heart attack. The BMW at home was registered under his old man's name. It was inconvenient for him to keep bothering his dad, but he had looked into my Lamborghini from before. It was actually registered under my name. Sammy and I arrived at the milk tea shop. The milk tea business was indeed booming. School had only been out for a little while, but a long line had already formed early on. "Why isn't it my turn yet?" Chloe waited anxiously in line. Her favorite was the grape boba fruit tea. Even though a cup cost a whole $15, she was more than happy to pay for it. Waiting in line in this sweltering heat naturally bred resentment. Right at that moment, I swaggered right past the queue and walked straight up to the stall. Seeing this, the students in line all showed expressions of annoyance. Preston couldn't hold it in anymore. "Gavin, if you want to buy milk tea for Nina, get in line." "What do you mean by cutting the queue?" Nina froze in place. She obviously didn't expect me to come buy milk tea. I shot Preston a glance. "Me? Buying milk tea for Nina? Only someone like you would do something like that. Dog lover Preston. Seriously, stop being such a simp." I ignored the two of them and looked up at the stall vendor. "Granny Wang, Butler Luke has some business today, so I'm here to collect the cash." Granny Wang pulled out the cash from her pocket and handed it to me with trembling hands. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Did this guy come here to collect protection money? The milk tea granny worked so hard to make money. How could you steal her money? Preston immediately got furious. "Gavin, how could you bully an old lady?" Nina was equally shocked. "What you're doing is wrong." Seeing me facing 1,000 pointing fingers, the kind Granny Wang shouted at the top of her lungs. "I'm sorry, everyone. Mr. Gavin is my boss. You've misunderstood him." "Boss?" These two words instantly hit everyone like a ton of bricks. I, on the other hand, counted the cash in my hand. I pulled out several red $100 bills and placed them in Granny's hand. "It's hard work running a stall in this heat. I'll buy an electric fan and bring it over for you tomorrow." Granny Wang smiled at me gratefully. "Thank you, boss." The way everyone looked at me changed instantly. Chloe was also stunned. Did she hear that right? The guy who used to revolve entirely around Nina, how did he become so smart now? First, he took advantage of human nature to sell overpriced black stockings, and now he had other people working for him, running stalls. In stark contrast to everyone else's shock were Preston and Nina's mentalities. They suddenly felt like they had been played for absolute fools. One had been tricked by me into buying an overpriced cup of milk tea. The other had been giving me free advertising for the past few days, resulting in the milk tea shop's business booming exponentially, which meant I was making even more money. Realizing this, Nina absolutely blew her top. She wanted nothing more than to rush over and demand an endorsement fee from me right now. Nina looked unwillingly at my retreating back. "You do like me. You simply can't let me go," she sniffled, tears bursting forth. "Because I can't let you go either." Preston had just returned with the milk tea he bought. Hearing these words, he collapsed onto the ground in absolute devastation. I remembered giving Wynter oysters last time, and she seemed to like them. Night fell. I brought a bowl of freshly cooked congee to Wynter. Tonight's dinner is oyster and shrimp seafood congee. "So, can little Wynter eat an extra bowl?" Wynter spaced out for a moment, then looked up at me. "Why are you calling me that?" "Because I think you're cute. Your inner world is kind of like a little kid's." I coughed awkwardly. Only then did I realize I had overstepped. Sure enough, familiarity breeds boldness. I was getting way too gutsy. Wynter dropped a sentence nonchalantly. "If you just want to show how close our relationship is, you can call me Bao Bao, Bag Precious. That's the nickname my mother gave me." I was quite surprised. "Why would your mother give you that nickname?" "It's Bao as in handbag." Wynter stirred the congee in her bowl with a spoon. Mother said when I grew up, she could trade me for money to buy a lot of designer bags she wanted. So my nickname is Bao Bao. I was shocked by this answer and couldn't help but joke. So, did she successfully trade you for designer bags later? No. Wynter's expression was indifferent when she mentioned this, as if she was talking about someone completely unrelated to her. I got very sick when I was 5 to earn money for my medical bills. She worked 3 jobs at the same time. She pushed through for over half a year and eventually died of overwork. I was completely dumbfounded. If I remembered correctly, when Wynter was 8, she returned as the lost little princess of the financial conglomerate. Everyone congratulated the old patriarch on having a child in his old age, assuming Wynter would be the incredibly pampered little princess of the conglomerate, and that indeed became the reality. If there's a chance, I'll go visit her grave with you. I honestly couldn't think of anything to say to comfort Wynter. There is no grave. Wynter shook her head. My mother was an orphan, and I didn't have the means to bury her back then. A fragment of a memory flashed through her mind. That day, amidst a thunderstorm, she knelt in the courtyard of the Wen family's quadrangle in the imperial capital, refusing to get up. She kowtowed until the blood on the ground mixed with the rainwater. There was nothing around her but the sounds of mockery. She forgot what she said that day. She only remembered the rain was a bit cold, and her head hurt a little. The Wynter in front of me stopped talking. She gripped the ceramic spoon in her hand tightly. Those eyes grew increasingly dark and profound. Butler Luke took a sharp breath of cold air. Mr. Gavin, please leave quickly. No one can talk Boss Wynter down in this state. We just have to wait for her to calm down on her own. Something's definitely wrong. Quinn also felt it was a thorny situation. You mentioned Boss Wynter's taboo. This is bad. If this continues, she's going to hurt herself again. My heart felt like it was being squeezed tightly by something. Since when did it start? Towards this unapproachable great demon king, what I felt more was heartache rather than fear. Wynter, do you still remember me? Wynter remained seated in her original position, but the aura swirling around her was unimaginably gloomy and terrifying, like a demon king who had just slaughtered her way out of hell. Wynter, I called out softly again. Wynter finally raised her head slightly. Those eyes, as cold as a venomous snake's, just stared at me coldly. Come here. 2 icy words devoid of any emotion. I took a deep breath. Wynter, I'm sorry. I walked up to Wynter's side. I won't bring up your mother's affairs again. I will take good care of you. Every single word I said to Wynter was like a ray of light offering salvation. At this moment, Wynter felt like she was trapped in a pitch-black room where she couldn't even see her own fingers. In her mind, those unforgettable memories all surfaced uncontrollably before her eyes. Just as the agonizing scenes were about to drown her, she saw me standing in front of her. Those clear eyes were like the warm sun, possessing the power to disperse all coldness and darkness. Finally, Wynter completely lost control. She desperately tried to grab onto this life-saving straw. Before I could even react, the Wynter in front of me hugged me with all her might. She was so strong. I felt like I was being constricted by a giant snake. It was even hard to breathe. Wynter, I reached out one hand. In her frantic state, Wynter instinctively thought she was about to be hit again. But the next second, my hand landed on her head, offering a gentle, soothing touch. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'll stay by your side forever. Wynter, it's not your fault. That was your fault. You were only 5 years old back then. Be kinder to yourself. I won't leave you. The gentle words, bit by bit, melted Wynter's frozen heart. After a few minutes passed, the noble, elegant eldest princess from my memory returned. Wynter looked up at me blankly. A wave of infinite guilt and fear surged in her heart. Bastard, what makes you think I'd be scared? I don't need your pity at all. She looked like she was covered in bruises but still forcing herself to bare her fangs like a fierce little kitten, as if that was the only way she could protect herself. It's not pity. I steeled my resolve and for the first time attempted to actively kiss Wynter. Wynter, I care about you. This sentence was like magic. It made the previously frantic Wynter slowly quiet down. A few minutes passed. The noble eldest princess from my memory had returned. Wynter looked up at me, her tone flat. I have something to tell you. She took a deep breath. A flicker of struggle passed through her eyes. What happened today? You are not allowed to tell anyone. Ha 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 ha. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Quinn and Butler Luke finally arrived with the deployed bodyguards. On the way here, they both thought I was doomed. Mr. Gavin, are you all right? Quinn looked anxiously into the room, but when he saw the scene inside, he was stunned. Not only was Mr. Gavin fine, he was laughing his head off. And Boss Wynter seemed to have calmed down too. Butler Luke calmly pushed Quinn's head down. Why are you still asking? Let's go! Let's go! Don't stay here being a third wheel. In the days that followed, I lived an incredibly carefree life. The milk tea business had already pulled in $2 million. It was time to go snatch up that rundown old apartment complex in the neighborhood. Gavman, this milk tea is too freaking good. Sammy held the milk tea in his hand, a look of pure bliss on his face. Right at that moment, Nina looked in my direction and made a choice in her heart. Nina suddenly realized that her so-called pride and her so-called title of campus belle were completely worthless. So she made a decision. She was going to completely cast aside her dignity and officially pursue me, starting with a confession. Thinking of this, Nina walked up to me. I have some spare cash on me recently. I want to invite my friends out for a meal, and I'd like to invite you to come along too. Is that okay? Preston, standing behind the crowd, sighed heavily. Those eyes that used to gaze at Nina with adoration seemed to have grown somewhat numb. I couldn't be bothered to engage with Nina and turned to leave. Seeing me leave directly, Nina was utterly dumbfounded. She had already taken the initiative to this extent. She was even preparing to confess to me in front of everyone. Wasn't I really hung up on being rejected by her before? Now she was willing to confess to me. Why? Preston, seeing Nina upset, quickly rushed forward to comfort her. My family has money. Let me treat you to a meal, okay? After saying that, he pulled Nina into his arms again. Nina cried even harder. Then you must remember this. Don't tell Gavin you hugged me. I'm afraid he'll misunderstand. Preston couldn't wrap his head around it. My father is a businessman. I'll be inheriting his company in the future. I'm not that bad either. So would you be willing to have dinner with me? Fine. Nina pressed her lips together slightly. Then let's set it for tomorrow night. I want to eat at Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot. Tomorrow night it is. I want to eat at Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot. The voice of the owner of the rundown apartments came through the phone. I felt a little pinch in my wallet. Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot was not cheap. I remembered eating there once in my past life, and a casual meal easily cost over $1,000. But it wasn't a big deal. Who asked this owner to happen to have 2 properties ready for immediate sale? With that in mind, I quickly made a reservation at Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot. Outside Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot, as Preston got out of the car, he couldn't help but marvel. My Nina really has great taste. The hot pot place she picked is so much more high-end than the others. He was planning to confess to Nina tonight. If he succeeded, wouldn't she be his? After that, the classmates from Computer Science Class 1 arrived one after another. It wasn't until Nina arrived at the scene. He also stepped forward and tentatively extended a hand. Nina. Amidst the flattery of the crowd, Nina finally haughtily extended a hand. I'll allow you to hold my hand. Preston was overjoyed on the spot. He led the group of classmates into the Hwangchung Loma Hot Pot restaurant. Preston watched as the goddess beside him also showed an admiring look towards him. He felt like he had simply reached the absolute peak of his life. Ha ha ha, eat whatever you want today, guys. It's my treat. Preston didn't even look at the prices and pulled out a credit card to swipe. I have to admit, this place really was high-end. Even the guests in the private rooms were incredibly easy on the eyes. Wait, something's not right. Preston couldn't help but frown. Could it really be such a coincidence? Inside one of the private rooms, I was dressed sharply in a suit, currently shaking hands with the owner, Mr. Wang. Pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Wang. These 2 properties definitely have room to appreciate in value. You have a very good eye. Mr. Wang was equally in a great mood. The 2 of us smoothly signed the contract. For a moment, all the classmates froze in their tracks. Nina was also dumbfounded. She decisively let go of Preston's hand. She felt the woman part of her coming back to life again. Her heart pounded wildly. Confident, mature, generous. This was the true Mr. Right for her. She wanted to confess to me. Preston looked blankly at the scene unfolding before him. This isn't right. Wasn't today supposed to be his highlight reel? He quickly reached out to grab Nina's hand. Nina, don't do this, okay? I'm scared. Nina pulled her hand away. Preston grabbed it again. Nina, I truly like you. Nina pulled her hand away again. Preston grabbed it again. If you pull away again, I won't treat you to hot pot. This time, Nina didn't pull her hand away. How could you go back on your word? If you can't do it, don't make promises so easily. Someone with a heart doesn't need to be taught. Someone without a heart can never learn. Preston instantly felt like he had a massive problem on his hands. No, it's not like that. I will treat you all to hot pot. I keep my word. Nina frowned, then pulled her hand free. You can go. I'm in a bad mood and want to be alone for a bit. What she was actually planning was to confess to me later. That works too, but before that I want to tell you something. Preston said this, seeming to have made up his mind. He pulled a diamond ring out of his pocket. Then he knelt on one knee in front of Nina. Nina, we've been classmates since high school. Now I want to confess my feelings to you, to truly be with you. If you agree, please put on this couple's diamond ring. Hearing this, the classmates were completely dumbfounded. Preston was actually confessing to Nina. Preston is too devoted. Has he really liked Nina since high school too? The commotion here was too loud. It even startled me as I was just getting ready to leave. I couldn't help but glance over, my eye twitching. If I had known Nina was here, I would have let this deal rot in the hot pot broth. I stood up and was about to leave, but seeing this, Nina completely panicked. Gavin, wait! Preston was dumbfounded. He was already kneeling on one knee. He had even spent $10,000 on this pair of couple's rings, and you haven't even answered me. Preston anxiously grabbed Nina's hand. Seeing that I was about to force my way out, Nina finally broke down. She suddenly dropped a bombshell that shook the heavens and earth. Wait for me. Gavin, I want to confess to you. As soon as she said this, everyone around was dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded too. Girl, don't mess with me. Although I had reported my whereabouts to Wynter before leaving today, if she suddenly found out about this whole Nina confession fiasco, wouldn't that be an absolute bloodbath of a love triangle? Preston's mind exploded even more. He looked at Nina, trembling.
Hey, you! I.
Nina angrily shook off Preston's hand. Preston, let me tell you, I might have had feelings for you before, but I see myself clearly now. Gavin, I still like you more. Oh, shut up. I literally exploded. Preston, are you even a man? She's treating you like this and you're just standing there. Slap her. Preston couldn't hold back his tears. Then why don't you hit her? You clearly love her just as much as I do. You can't bear to hit her either. I'm afraid of getting sued for assault, you idiot. As for you, my friend, you are the true Joker of Gotham. Seeing this scene, Nina couldn't help but curve her lips. She was determined to melt my sunder heart today. Gavin, we've known each other since high school. I like you. Because you are sincere, kind, and gentle. I want to be brave just this once too. Are you willing to accept my confession and be with me? The entire place was in an uproar. WTF? Today Preston confesses to Nina, and Nina turns around to confess to Gavin. What kind of Matryoshka doll plotline is this? For a moment, they couldn't even tell who they should be jealous of. At the same time, from the shadows, an intensely dangerous aura was approaching. I suddenly had a very bad feeling. This familiar aura, please don't tell me it's the yandere eldest princess. Hot pot restaurant security room. Wynter sat in a chair, her gaze scrutinizing the large screen in the security room. Her eyes swept over my figure alone. Seeing that tall, upright silhouette like a solitary pine, a mix of greed and desire surged in her eyes until Nina's confession. Wynter's eyes instantly narrowed dangerously. The owner beside her, Liu Hongchun, was dumbfounded. How did he end up catching the top investor's husband, having an affair in his own restaurant? And it's such a cliché soap opera scene. His calves wouldn't stop shaking. Boss Wynter, please calm down. I'll immediately have the security guards clear the area. No need. Wynter took off a pair of black lace gloves, expressionlessly cracking her knuckles. Then she stood up. I'll go personally. Gavin, are you willing to accept my confession? Nina looked at me expectantly. I took a step back, my gaze cold. The way I looked at this woman was full of absolute disgust. Nina, I'm a germaphobe. I don't like dirty things. In my past life, it was only when I caught them in the act that I heard Nina confess that she had been hooking up with guys since high school. She was filthy. Thank God I never touched her once in my past life. Nina was stunned. She looked at me in disbelief. What right do you have to call me dirty? Nina, feeling deeply wronged and her eyes red from being publicly humiliated, sobbed uncontrollably. I've always liked you. Ugly, rejected. Is there something I didn't do well enough? Ugly, rejected. Why won't you accept my confession? Ugly, rejected. This triple ugly, rejected combo almost completely broke Nina's mental defenses. The crowd's eyes widened in disbelief. Are you kidding me? Nina finally realized what was happening. Gavin, stop lying to yourself. You're so basic. What kind of girlfriend could you possibly find? She's just a replacement you found to try and forget me. And she's definitely just after your money. She's just a gold digger. I burst out laughing. So what if she has ulterior motives towards me? As long as she's happy, I don't care what she does to me. The moment the words left my mouth, I regretted it. Right then, a cold, clear voice dropped from the doorway. I'll give you 3 seconds to let go of Gavin. Wynter stood with her hands in the pockets of her jacket, casually leaning against the doorframe. A barely perceptible murderous intent seeped through her tired eyes. The lights cascaded over her snow-white skin, making it glow. When a woman of such peerless, cold beauty appeared, in an instant, the rest of the world paled in comparison. Everyone was mesmerized. Nina froze as well. Her previous anger vanished instantly, leaving her at a loss for what to do. You're Director Wynter! The 3 seconds passed quickly. Wynter walked up to Nina and threw a vicious punch right into her chest. This single punch almost sent Nina straight to the afterlife right then and there. A shrill scream snapped the dumbfounded crowd back to reality. Preston was the first to react, mustering the courage to try and teach Wynter a lesson. As a result, he was hit with a crisp, ruthless shoulder throw and slammed hard onto the floor. Wynter brushed a stray lock of hair behind her ear and looked straight at me. It's getting late. I came to take you home. I suddenly felt that being with Wynter was actually pretty great. Although she was a bit domineering when it came to dealing with outsiders, she always gave me absolute face. Preston remembered the terror of going on stage to receive his award. He instantly felt his throat tighten. Finally, he forced out a sentence. Do you know who I am? My dad is one of the top entrepreneurs in U-City, with tens of millions in assets. If you touch me, you won't get away with it. Wynter shot a glance at Quinn beside her. Quinn immediately signaled that he got it and jotted it down in his little notebook. I couldn't hold it back and let out a laugh. Self-destructing truck over here. At the end of the day, Preston still had no idea about Wynter's absolute dominance in U-City. She was the true boss, who held the power of life and death. Perhaps because Wynter had been looking at him with disdain for too long, Preston, feeling his masculine's pride severely wounded, actually charged at Wynter, throwing a punch. "I won't let you bully Nina!" Wynter looked displeased. She grabbed an empty beer bottle from the table and smashed it right over his head. A hint of crimson also dyed those beautiful eyes. Preston slumped on the floor, nearly fainting. He looked at Wynter in disbelief, terror engulfing him once again. "Who exactly you?" Nina was completely dumbfounded too. "Security! Come quick! She's hitting people!" Seeing the overwhelming aura radiating from Wynter, the security guards in the hot pot restaurant didn't dare step forward at all. "Are you kidding me? This is Wynter, the CEO of Manhwa Group in U City." They had just seen their usually arrogant boss bowing and scraping in front of her. How could they dare to block her way? Right then, the owner, Liu Hongchun, sticking his big belly out, arrived belatedly. He rushed over to Nina. "I am the owner of this hot pot restaurant. Step aside and let me speak." Nina saw her savior arriving. "Boss, can you please help me? This person, she's hitting people!" Liu Hongchun looked furious. "This is Boss Wynter. She is my investor. Every single one of you here today has been blacklisted. You are banned for life from entering any restaurant under my brand." As soon as he finished speaking, the security guards made a please leave gesture to the students. The students gasped. They felt like everything happening today was an absolute fever dream. A school director only has power in school, right? How is she still this terrifying outside? One male student sighed. No wonder Gavin looks down on Nina, a goddess of this caliber, with money and looks, especially this scene of her domineeringly protecting her man today. It makes your heart skip a beat. Throughout the whole ordeal, I personally stood aside watching the show. I even relaxed and started cracking sunflower seeds. "Time to go." Wynter walked up to me. She stared deeply at the hand Nina had grabbed earlier. Her tone carried a barely perceptible hint of danger. Nina was streaming with tears. Not only did her confession fail today, but even Preston, her ultimate simp, might stop simping for her. I left amidst the awestruck and shocked gazes of a group of classmates. The class group chat had already exploded. What happened tonight was absolutely surreal. What's the situation? Gavin's girlfriend is such a top-tier catch. I'm crying. Someone splash me with water to wake me up. What kind of winner in life is Gavin? Getting dropped off at school in hypercars every day was one thing, but this? Sammy looked at these chat logs, his mind blown. "You dog, tell me right now, who is your girlfriend?" Gav, how could you hide this from your father?" Seeing these messages, I smiled. "We haven't officially established a relationship yet, and I don't even know if she's willing to be my girlfriend. Maybe riding in a luxury car is just too comfortable." I fell asleep not long after. Seeing this, Wynter's gaze deepened. She looked at me and couldn't resist the urge to take a bite. Quinn had never seen Wynter this gentle before and couldn't help but remind her. "Boss Wynter, I'm happy to see you finding happiness in a relationship now, but I still want to remind you not to get too invested. You were betrayed countless times when you were young. I'm afraid that if it happens again, you won't be able to survive it." Wynter shook her head. She looked at my sleeping face. "As long as he is by my side, that's enough. I am 6 years older than him. In a relationship, the party with the weaker objective conditions often bears more. Actually, I've already put too much pressure on him." Wynter stroked my neck. "If everything he did before was just to deceive me, then he has truly calculated every possible angle. Since that's the case, how could I bear to let him lose?" Quinn's eyes widened in absolute disbelief. Boss Wynter's love had truly reached its absolute extreme. Ever since she returned to the Wen financial conglomerate at age 8, she had never bowed her head to anyone. Yet now she actually said something like this. "Even if you deceive me, abuse me, and trick me 1,000 times, I would still gladly love you to the bone." I jolted awake. In my dream, I was imprisoned by Wynter all over again. When I woke up, I finally realized, no wait, this isn't right. I just went through all that drama today. How could I possibly fall asleep? If we went back, and Wynter had another yandere episode and locked me up, that would be very bad. So I opened my mouth. "Wynter, I need to tell you something." Wynter slowly and methodically folded the newspaper. "What is it?" I scratched my head, a bit embarrassed. "I want to take you to buy something." I remembered promising to buy Wynter something before. Wynter agreed. She happened to have something she wanted to give away too. Inside the financial hub tower. When Wynter and I appeared, countless people had their attention drawn to us. Which rich family's young master and lady are out playing today? Are they celebrities? Why do they have so many bodyguards following them? When Wynter came to the mall with me, she brought 3 bodyguards, partly to help carry things, and partly to prevent any sudden assassinations. I passed by an arcade and got interested. "Wynter, want to play this to relax?" She looked at my expectant eyes and smiled. "Okay." It was a shooting game, using a toy gun to shoot balloons. Reaching a certain score would win you a corresponding plush toy. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Wynter very professionally picked up a toy gun. Grip, load, aim, fire, no wasted movements, clean and efficient. Bang, bang, bang! 20 consecutive shots, not a single miss. The girl working the booth, Xiaomei, was dumbfounded. "Sister, you're amazing." I also took a deep breath. Is there anything the eldest princess can't do? Winter's eyes brimmed with a joyous light. She hadn't relaxed like this in a very long time. The fatigue completely swept away from her body. While I was zoning out, Wynter placed the toy gun in my hand. Your turn. Feeling the expectant gazes of the whole crowd, I felt a bit embarrassed. Ha ha, if I knew I would have gone first. That way, I could have thrown a brick to attract a jade. Meaning, offer something humble to get something better. I'm the type who sucks but loves to play. I probably won't be very good. Wynter held my hands, adjusting my posture bit by bit. I'll teach you. I felt a bit self-conscious. Truth be told, I was confident in front of anyone else. But only in front of Wynter did I feel constrained. Perhaps the first reaction to liking someone is a feeling of inferiority. I think I've already fallen for Wynter. Wynter gazed at me gently. You never need to belittle yourself. The reason I chose you wasn't a whim. It's because you are good enough. You are the most gentle and outstanding person I have ever met. You just need time to grow. When the time comes, you will definitely stand shoulder to shoulder with me and enter higher, greater platforms. Then you will realize that people more outstanding than me are actually everywhere. To be able to witness your journey of glory is one of the few meaningful things in my life. My heart fluttered. I felt that the cement I used to seal my heart when I was reborn was completely useless. Wynter is terrifyingly strong this season. We agreed on a peaceful farming phase. I was here slowly last-hitting minions, and she just comes up and pops her ultimate right in my face. This is an absolute, unavoidable one-shot. I'll give it a try. I suddenly realized that this yandere was actually very gentle, but at the same time I couldn't help but wonder, would she treat others like this too? Am I really the only man she's ever looked at? Damn it! It's true what they say, women only affect the speed at which a man draws his sword. Bang! The first shot unsurprisingly missed. The next 3 shots yielded the same result. My mentality completely collapsed, and I fired a dozen more shots in a row, and they all missed terribly. I took a deep breath and then fired again. With several shots fired in succession, I suddenly realized a memory flashing through my mind. An unnatural memory. It was a first-person shooting perspective. A hit rate as precise as a legendary sniper. It seemed I had inexplicably awakened some skill points. I focused my gaze, staring intently at the target. Bang, bang, bang! This time, just like Wynter, I didn't miss a single shot. It was practically a God-given talent. The bystanders were stunned, too. Did this guy suddenly awaken some kind of superpower? Not bad. An unnatural look flashed through Wynter's eyes. She slowly and methodically pulled a stack of cash from her wallet and placed it in Xiaomei's hand. Tip. Then she instructed the bodyguards nearby to give everyone present a $600 red envelope. The bystanders were completely dumbfounded. They just stopped by to eat some gossip and accidentally blurted out a few compliments. And now they're just getting free money. Xiaomei's mouth was grinning from ear to ear. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, handsome. May you two have a long and happy marriage, have kids early, and grow old together. Wynter remained silent for a moment, looked at the bodyguard. Give her another 10,000. While Wynter was on the phone, I went to the jewelry store and picked out a 4-leaf clover diamond bracelet for her. I hoped the necklace would bring Wynter good luck. Her journey had been incredibly rough and difficult. As soon as we got home, I pulled out the necklace I had secretly bought at the mall. For you! I hope the 4-leaf clover brings you good luck. Wynter looked at the diamond bracelet, her eyes flashing with unparalleled joy. She was shaking with excitement, like a child who had never been praised before, suddenly possessing the entire world. I was startled, and then realized what the gift Wynter mentioned was. Butler Luke walked up to me. Mr. Gavin, Boss Wynter left a gift for you to go pick out. I was led to the garage by Butler Luke and saw the gift that belonged to me, a Maserati MC20. I felt like I was literally ascending to heaven right on the spot. How did she know I liked this car? Is this the joy of having your vulnerability seen through by a rich sugar mommy? The diamond necklace I gave her cost barely over $30K, and she turned around and gave me a car worth over $3 million. Butler Luke handed me a contract. Boss Wynter also bought you a 200 square meter detached villa in Chen Palace. Total price, $120 million. I was instantly dumbfounded. A detached villa in Chen Palace? Butler Luke looked at me, confused. Why are you so excited? The tens of millions in net worth I struggled for in my past life was only enough to afford a small townhouse in Chen Palace. But Wynter actually bought me 2 whole villas with cash. Boss Wynter said she plans to completely unfreeze your black card. But she still asked me to come and ask for your opinion. I was stunned for a moment. Isn't she afraid I'll run away? Butler Luke looked at me. I think she probably still is, but she's completely fallen for you now, regarding whether to unfreeze the black card or not. Boss Wynter hopes you can find some fun and a sense of accomplishment through making money. When you achieve financial freedom without doing anything, it's easy to fall into a state of nihilism. Unfreeze it. Of course, I could continue making money my current way, but I really wanted to grow stronger faster, to protect Wynter sooner. Wynter is successful in her career now. I could, of course, just be a happy piece of trash living off her for the rest of my life. But I'm a man. Seeing my woman working so hard, my heart aches too. I look forward to the day I can shield Wynter from the wind and rain. Butler Luke was stunned. Mr. Gavin, have you fallen for Wynter? Butler Luke looked at me curiously. I knew your feelings towards Boss Wynter had changed. Ha ha ha, that's wonderful. I'll go tell Boss Wynter right now. I stopped Butler Luke. Wait until I finish this busy period. I hope to stand before her as a more outstanding version of myself, and then personally confess to her. I did a rough estimate. There should be around 50 million in that card. That money was already enough to operate a short video app. If I pulled this off, maybe I could actually help Wynter out in the future. First was the milk tea stall. Then came the plan to buy the rundown apartments. I went to the bank and found out that the black card actually had 300 million in it, so I just decided to use 100 million to buy up 100 apartments in that complex. They were going to be demolished soon anyway, so I'd make it back. I also thought about the massive pie that is Haidalau, found a partner to start a hot pot chain with me, and named it Haley Lau. Then I spent 50 million to acquire a video website. Company, Blue Whale Technology Co. Limit. Afterward, I pitched my concept for a short video app. Also, regarding promotion and R&D costs, you don't need to worry about any of it. Just go all out. As for the name, let's call it TikTok. Everyone nodded, seemingly understanding but not fully grasping it yet. At this time, Blue Whale Company had no idea that this video app called TikTok would completely crush the entire video track. The weekend, led by Chloe, many classmates went to a bar to hang out. Did you guys notice? Gavin hasn't been to school for several days now. Mentioning this, Nina couldn't help but frown. I wanted to warn Gavin before. Finding a pretty girlfriend will just make him lose his ambition. Even if he inherits the family fortune later, he'll just squander it all. Hearing this, the classmates couldn't help but laugh. Just then, the usually silent Wang Zhibing spoke up. Gavin took these days off to run his business. He partnered with my old man to start a hot pot chain called Hailalao. Hearing this, everyone froze. A waiter carrying drinks also arrived at their table. Tonight's expenses for the entire venue are covered by Mr. Gavin. He's on his way over now. If you guys keep gossiping behind his back, I wouldn't mind having security throw you out. The color drained from everyone's faces. After a long silence, Chloe uncontrollably broke down. Who knows where the money came from? It must be from his family, right? So behind every successful man, there must be a good woman. Nina sighed. Gavin's girlfriend dresses up so flamboyantly. What kind of career ambition could she possibly have? Wang Zhibing fell into deep thought. You two really need to stop acting like you're in a soap opera. Aren't you afraid the waiter will actually throw you out? Also, did you two not know? Gavin currently has over 20 milk tea shops. His daily net profit is nearing 100K now. And he even invested a whole 5 million in my dad's company. The crowd fell into a deathly silence. What the heck? His daily net profit is nearing 100K. Chloe pursed her lips. It's just because he comes from a good background. If I had that background, I could do it too. Wang Zhibing completely lost his patience. Give it a rest. With your brain? The most you can do is remember how much some designer bag costs and how many socialites it takes to split the bill for a photo op at some internet famous spot. You think I don't know where those photos on your social media actually come from? Nina was furious. What right do you have to talk about us like that? Do you know how hard it is to stage those photos for social media? We can use those photos to network with higher society. We're building connections in advance for our lives after graduation. Hey, you two better shut up. The waiter listening nearby was practically steaming at the ears. He directly summoned security to toss the two of them out of the bar. The two sat disheveled at the entrance of the bar. It took Chloe a long time to get up, fuming with anger. How could Gavin be so heartless? Right at that moment, a Maserati pulled up to the bar's entrance. I stepped out of the car dressed in a sharp suit. Seeing me, Nina sobered up instantly. She looked at me pitifully, tears welling up in her eyes. Gavin, I hurt so much. Can you help me? I glanced at Nina and instinctively took 2 steps back. Then I walked over to the driver's side door. Wynter, I forgot to tell you. Although bars are good places to relax, they also have a lot of trash. A pair of long, straight, slender legs stepped out, followed by a cold, noble silhouette. Wynter was wearing an intellectual-style women's suit. She looked up at me. It's a bit noisy here. Okay, let's go to a quiet lounge then. I stared at Wynter with total hard eyes. Watching the two of us about to drive away, Nina suddenly realized that she didn't even have the courage to call out my name anymore. Just then, Preston walked up to Nina and helped her up. Nina was instantly deeply moved. Preston, I knew you treated me the best. My family went bankrupt. Preston said with a miserable face. I don't know what happened. Ever since I treated you to hot pot that day, everything changed. Can you lend me some money? Preston desperately grabbed Nina's hand. I've transferred a total of 510,000 to you over time. Give it back to me. Nina took 2 terrified steps back. How could you be so unreasonable? Since it was money given to me, how can you possibly ask for it back? Preston broke down. He knelt in front of Nina. I'm begging you. My parents are running around trying to borrow money everywhere now. Nina, didn't you say you considered me a good friend? I can't even afford to eat now. I don't want to drop out of school to work. Chloe was dumbfounded. She had never seen Preston looking so utterly devoid of dignity. Are you even a man? As a result, Preston hugged her thigh right on the spot. You also spent at least 30 or 40,000 of my money. Give me the money. Otherwise, I'll sue you right now. Chloe let out a terrified scream. Nina took 2 steps back and fled the scene like she was running for her life. Preston's family was perfectly fine before. Why would they suddenly go bankrupt? Was it because they offended Gavin's girlfriend at the hot pot restaurant that day? Nina shook her head frantically. It must be Gavin using his family's connections to stand up for her. But all of this clearly belonged to me. All of this should be mine. Qingfeng Lounge. The lounge was indeed much quieter. Wynter and I found a corner to listen to music. I noticed you haven't been in a very good mood these past few days. Did something happen? Wynter calmly poured herself a glass of wine. Just some annoying matters, but I can handle them myself. I raised an eyebrow and smiled. Is little Wynter really sure she doesn't want to tell me? Although you can get through anything relying on yourself, if you tell me, you'll get through it even faster. Want to give it a try? Wynter looked up. Are you trying to coax me like a child? Go buy me a lollipop and then I'll tell you. I almost thought I heard wrong. What flavor strawberry? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just how much does Wynter love strawberries? She loves strawberry cake, and even her lollipops have to be this flavor. So I got up and went to the supermarket next door to the bar. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. When I got back, there were 2 unconscious tattooed thugs lying next to Wynter. Wynter said calmly, just 2 flies ruining the view. I suddenly remembered Wynter saying on the phone that day that she had swatted a few flies. The things she swatted to death back then weren't actually flies, were they? I noticed you seem to really like strawberry-flavored things. So I took the liberty of buying strawberry cake, and strawberry lollipops, strawberry marshmallows, and strawberry ice cream. Eat up! I also bought chocolate strawberries. Wynter stood up and pinned me against the corner wall. Then she kissed my lips. Little thing, you've gotten bolder lately. Am I your girlfriend? Do you really think I'd like these little toys? I nodded. Because no one escapes the law of true fragrance, including my attitude towards Wynter. 10 minutes later, that entire bag of snacks had been ruthlessly cleared out by the 2 of us. Looking at the smudges on the corners of Wynter's mouth, I couldn't help but cover my face and laugh. Looks like you have a good appetite today. Don't tell anyone. Wynter turned her head away. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. Yi University. In my past life, I don't know what got into me, but I actually signed up for archery as an elective, and then Sammy tagged along too. So now the 2 of us are suffering together. Sammy sat on the floor panting heavily. Gav, are you hacking? Ever since you drew a line with that woman, you've been practically defying the heavens. I, on the other hand, calmly continued to draw my bow and shoot arrows. Is it possible, Sammy, that what I'm doing now is more than just this? Sammy couldn't help but sigh. Gav, man, you are seriously way too good to me. You actually gave me a whole apartment. Even though it was a rundown old place, the housing prices there inexplicably skyrocketed, so I sold the place right on the spot, made a killer profit of 50K. Gav, maybe you should sell your apartments too? I looked at him like he was an absolute idiot. Actually, is there any possibility that the 50K in your hands right now, in just over 40 days, could turn into 3 million? I didn't continue the conversation with Sammy. Better not let this poor fool know the truth. I continued to draw my bow and shoot. With every draw of the bow, I suddenly realized that the mechanics of archery were pretty similar to the mechanics of aiming a gun. So I drew the bow again, this time, dead center on the bullseye. I hit the bullseye 3 more times in a row, then 20 more times in a row. Even when I switched to moving targets, I hit every single one. Sammy literally jumped up from the ground. Old Gav, you've turned on your aimbot! Even I was a bit stunned. Could it be that I'm truly a 1 in a million genius? Sammy nearby suddenly showed an expression of sudden realization. I know what's going on. It's definitely a weapon spirit. I fell into deep thought. Something didn't feel right. How could weapon spirits actually exist? Whatever, what's done is done. Let's just go get some food. My CEO is a yandere. To stop me from marrying the pure campus belle, she literally locked me in a basement for 2.5 years. Later, I was murdered by a conspiracy between the campus belle and my best bro. That trashy duo laughed at my funeral while plotting how to spend my inheritance, and she gave up all her power and status, personally offing the scumbag so I could rest in peace. She looked at my sleeping face and murmured to herself, "Why couldn't you just stay by my side? From the very beginning, all I ever wanted was you." When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn back in Wynter's Rose Manor. Sammy dragged me to the cafeteria. Right at the main entrance, we bumped into Chloe. She looked at me pitifully. "You need to go see Nina right now. I'm afraid she's going to do something stupid. She's been sitting on the balcony all day." I knew exactly what kind of person she was. Right now, she was probably just doing this to try and win me back. But calculating the time, from the moment I was reborn until now, if Nina continued her life normally, she'd soon have a chance encounter in her junior year, where she'd discover a strong interest in medicine, and eventually become a doctor in the future. But all these bright futures would have nothing to do with her anymore. When I was reborn, I had already decided on her miserable ending for this life, so I grinned. Chloe, being a dog for anyone is still being a dog. Chloe was just about to start cursing, but then I whispered a sentence into her ear. This girl instantly froze. She looked at me in disbelief. I can help you gather the photos you want, but Nina and I are besties. I need more money. I shot her a faint glance. I'll give you another 60,000. Chloe smiled at me and quickly turned and left. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse. Butler Luke called me. Mr. Gavin, Boss Wynter sent me on an errand today, so I can't drive you home. Could you take a taxi? I felt something was off, but I couldn't pinpoint it. I opened the car door and got in. Immediately, someone pressed a knife against the back of my neck. That cold sensation made every nerve in my body instantly tense up. Is this a robbery or? I have money. Calm down. Also, if you do anything to me, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the consequences. Being held hostage? That definitely didn't happen in my past life. Mr. Gavin, a man in a sharp suit sitting in the back seat, smiled slightly. My name is Wyatt. Strictly speaking, I should be calling you uncle-in-law, but I'm already 30, so let's skip the formalities. He couldn't help but size me up through the rearview mirror. Indeed, a rare handsome guy. No wonder Auntie likes you. I realized who it was. Wyatt. I remembered hearing this name right before I died in my past life. Wynter's dying wish was to hand all her power over to Wyatt. Great, just great. I was imprisoned for a long time into my past life, so I never got kidnapped by Wyatt. Right at that moment, the taxi also drove into the desolate outskirts. The bodyguards who had been secretly protecting me finally revealed themselves. They charged towards the taxi. Do it! Soon, the two sides engaged in a head-on clash. Wyatt couldn't help but laugh. Wynter really cares about you. To secretly assign so many bodyguards to you. You haven't seen the way she fought tooth and nail for the old patriarch before, have you? Originally, all of this was very complicated. But now that I have you as a bargaining chip, Butler Luke's eyes widened. Wyatt! The patriarch won't let you off lightly when he finds out about this. Wyatt leisurely toyed with the blood-stained dagger. If you don't kneel, then don't blame me for not holding back, he said, pressing the dagger against my neck again. Wynter sneered. If you want to humiliate me, you only dare to use these low-level tactics, leaving traces behind. Are you afraid of being held accountable by the patriarch later? Then stab yourself once on behalf of Gavin. Wyatt's eyes crinkled with a smile. Otherwise, this knife of mine will land right in his heart. My breathing instantly became rapid. Wynter, there's no need. You've already compromised enough. I don't want you to get hurt at all. Shut up. Seeing that I was about to resist, Wynter shouted sternly. I alone am enough to bear all the pain. Her eyes were paranoid and deeply affectionate. You don't have the right to make decisions for me. Seeing Wynter about to pick up the Meow Dao, my heart instantly clenched with agonizing pain. Blood rushed to my head. Wynter, if you really die, I'll wipe you completely from my memory. I'll marry 100 wives and have a house full of kids and grandkids. Wynter paused her movements, looked up at me and smiled. That would be good too. Seeing that Wynter was really going to do it, my head suddenly started throbbing violently, as if trying to break through some kind of shackles. I violently shoved the two bodyguards holding me hostage. Wyatt's pupils shrank. Before he could even react, I knocked him to the ground with a single punch. Wyatt was completely dazed by the punch. He struggled to pick himself up. You actually know how to fight? Before he could finish, I raised my hand and slapped him several times, beating him into a swollen pig's head right on the spot. The others tried to stop me, but were dropped one by my punches. Wynter saw this scene, and a flash of terror crossed her shocked eyes. Immediately, she drew her Meow Dao and charged forward rapidly. Soon, the situation was completely stabilized. Wyatt was beaten, dizzy, and disoriented. Wynter, you set me up on purpose, didn't you? Wyatt, you know my temper, but I won't kill you today, because you will suffer a fate worse than death. At this moment, the door of a business van slowly opened. A steady middle-aged man stepped out. Wyatt, you've disappointed me too much today. Wyatt was dumbfounded. He knelt before the patriarch in absolute panic. Father, this is a misunderstanding. I was set up by Wynter. The patriarch frowned. It seems I've been too lenient with you. Go back and confine yourself for a month. Seeing this scene, I finally realized. So everything was part of Wynter's plan all along? Butler Luke led me into the car. Mr. Gavin, don't worry. Boss Wynter is fine now. I'll take you to the hospital to get your wounds bandaged first. The patriarch gave Wynter a meaningful look. My good sister, I really didn't expect you to be willing to keep this ticking time bomb by your side. Are you really not afraid? My affairs are none of the patriarch's concern. Wynter's eyes couldn't hide their overwhelming murderous intent. Go back and tell those sons of yours. If they dare to touch a single hair on Gavin's head again, don't blame me for showing no mercy. On the car ride back to the Rose Manor, I recalled everything that happened today. I was imprisoned by Wynter for a long time in my past life. Later, I escaped U City and headed to the imperial capital, where I heard some tabloid rumors about Wyatt. To Today this piece of trash almost hurt my person, then he'd better be ready to pay the price. By the time I got back to the Rose Manor, it was almost dawn. Where's Wynter? I couldn't find her, and felt a bit uneasy. Quinn pointed towards the garden not too far away. Mr. Gavin, you should go see for yourself. Boss Wynter's mood has been terrible ever since she got back. This fish tank was indeed built massive. It was already the size of a small swimming pool. Beneath the water's surface, a beautiful silhouette curled her body up. Her hair floated on the water. Her eyes looked as if they had lost their soul. Mr. Gavin, you're finally here! Psychologist Dr. Wright saw me and breathed a sigh of relief. Boss Wynter, her condition right now is very bad. I've never seen her look so utterly hopeless before. Hearing these words, my heart also grew tense. Wynter, are you feeling okay right now? I tapped gently on the glass. It must be freezing in the water. Come out quickly. Wynter showed absolutely no reaction, except that a lot of bubbles soon emerged from the corners of her mouth. Dr. Wright, standing nearby, froze. Is Boss Wynter actively trying to die? In an instant, I felt almost all the strength drained from me. My heart stung sharply. Only one thought remained in my mind. I cannot lose Wynter. I jumped into the fish tank and fished Wynter out of the water. Wynter remained completely unresponsive throughout the entire process. Dr. Wright was incredibly anxious. He quickly walked up to Wynter and began a series of psychological interventions, but they had absolutely no effect. Mr. Gavin, I'll wait for you outside. If Boss Wynter won't even listen to you anymore, then my staying here is useless. Dr. Wright finished speaking and left the bedroom. Outside the bedroom door, Quinn and Butler Luke were equally anxious. Why did Boss Wynter suddenly become like this? Butler Luke sighed heavily. Boss Wynter didn't just suddenly become like this. Although I don't know exactly what happened, it might be that some things I don't know about finally crushed her. Inside the room, my heart was filled with near despair. Why did she suddenly turn out like this? Wynter, don't scare me. Do you really not want to live anymore? Do you not even want me anymore? Just as those words fell, Wynter finally showed a slight reaction. She looked up at me. Gavin, promise me one thing, okay? Then tell me what it is first. I finally breathed a sigh of relief and gently stroked her head. Didn't today's problem get resolved perfectly? Why are you so sad? I've never seen you like this before. Seeing Wynter stay silent, I could only try my best to tentatively comfort her. If you're worried about what happened today repeating itself, don't worry. I will work hard to become stronger. I won't let anyone hurt you ever again. Wynter's voice trembled. If anything happens in the future, you have to communicate with me immediately. I will explain everything to you. I haven't grown powerful enough to cover the sky with one hand yet. In the past, I did many things I didn't want to do, and I tried very hard to find a way to have the best of both worlds. Please don't doubt me. Please don't misunderstand me, okay? My heart trembled along with her words. Can you tell me exactly what happened? I believe you. Wynter's grip tightened. She hugged me desperately, as if she had grabbed onto her only life-saving straw. Just stay by my side, that's enough. A single tear slid from her eye. This Wynter, once so high and mighty, the peerlessly noble eldest princess of the financial conglomerate, right now looked exactly like a fragile porcelain doll about to shatter. She threw away all her pride. Her unyielding backbone was trampled into the mud. It was the afternoon of the next day. Looking at the sleeping woman beside me was filled with an unprecedented sense of happiness. Wynter's eyelashes fluttered lightly as she opened her eyes. You're awake. I looked down at the woman in my arms, and suddenly felt she looked quite dainty and reliant on me. Wynter, you're so cute. Wynter raised an eyebrow slightly. Is that an adjective meant to describe me? When I got out of bed, I accidentally pulled at my wound. Seeing this, Wynter turned and went to the medicine cabinet to grab medical supplies for treating wounds. She knelt on one knee in front of me. With her head bowed and an intensely focused expression, she re-bandaged my wound. Thinking of the cause of this wound, a flash of frustration crossed her eyes. That worthless piece of trash didn't deserve to live. When the time was right, she'd personally send him on his way. I looked at Wynter and smiled. The wound is bandaged. You can go to the company now. Wynter raised an eyebrow. You dare to order me around? What else? You're going to be my wife from now on. Of course you have to listen to me. As soon as the words left my mouth, I regretted it. Wynter stood up and crossed her arms over her chest. Seems like someone said something earlier. I was already sweating bullets. Wynter leaned down, her eyes looking straight at me. Someone said he was going to marry over 100 wives and party every single night. Wynter sneered coldly, her tone icy. As long as I, Wynter, am still breathing, don't even dream of having a child with another woman in this lifetime. I wanted to stab myself. Sure enough, some things shouldn't be said lightly. My bad. Then you don't have to listen to me today. A hint of smugness flashed through Wynter's eyes. She gently kissed my cheek. That's my good baby. Actually, I couldn't do much after getting injured anyway. Wynter went back to work at the conglomerate the next day. I looked at butler Luke, who was busy running around the manor, and called out to him. Do you know where Wynter's mother's belongings are? Clothes she wore when she was alive, jewelry she used, anything is fine. even just one piece. Butler Luke's mood instantly became solemn. He looked at me seriously. The belongings are at the Wen family estate, but Boss Wynter didn't take them with her. Mr. Gavin, why are you suddenly asking about this? I happen to have nothing to do these next 2 days. I'm planning to make a trip to the imperial capital. I will tell Wynter about this. I want to take some manpower with me. Since I'm going to set up a cenotaph, empty tomb for Wynter's mother, I might as well teach Wyatt a lesson while I'm at it. The imperial capital. The elevator doors opened and Wyatt walked towards his office with his assistant. The assistant cautiously said to Wyatt, "Second master." The patriarch said, although you only had to be confined for 3 days and could come back early. He told you to remember the lesson from last time. Be smart and don't. He didn't dare to finish his sentence. Wyatt forcefully suppressed the anger in his eyes. My own father actually took the side of an outsider. The assistant's teeth chattered in fear. Second master, you mean, how could the patriarch not trust you? Please calm down. What do you know? I know exactly what my old man is thinking. What he was angry about was that he actually fell for such a low-tier scheme. Wyatt gritted his teeth so hard he almost shattered his molars. He walked to the vice president's office and pushed the door open. What's the situation on Wynter's end? A man's cold voice fell in the darkened room. You'd better ask fewer questions about Wynter's recent situation. Wyatt's pupils shrank. He clearly sensed something was wrong. But before he could even react, click, Wyatt was pinned to the floor. He instantly bared his teeth and roared furiously. Who? The man expressionlessly flipped the light switch, and that person was clearly Quinn. Mr. Wyatt, please believe me. You definitely don't want to call security to save you right now. And you definitely don't want to blow this out of proportion. After all, you wouldn't want everyone to know about you embezzling company funds, would you? Hearing the words, embezzling company funds, Wyatt's nerves instantly tightened. He had indeed messed up a project previously and had to rob Peter to pay Paul, but he had hidden this matter exceptionally well. How did Wynter find out? Wyatt gritted his teeth and said, What nonsense are you talking about? I don't know. I just happened to have some free time earlier, so I hacked into your subordinate's financial records. Quinn tossed the printed ledgers in front of Wyatt. What else do you have to say? Wyatt instantly felt a chill down his spine, looking at Quinn in shock. You're a hacker? Why else would Boss Wynter hire me? Quinn asked back, his tone carrying a hint of pride. Wyatt knew he couldn't deny it. Wynter had finally come looking for trouble. What a vengeful woman. What do you want me to do? You caused Mr. Gavin's thigh to get injured before, so now you should pay it back. Wyatt's eyes darkened as he picked up the dagger from the floor and stabbed himself in the thigh. He trembled all over from the pain. How on earth did Wynter know about this? Let me at least die knowing why. You really guessed the wrong person for this today. Quinn walked to the back of the office chair and bowed deeply. Mr. Gavin, you've worked hard. The office chair spun around. I was sitting lazily on it, looking down condescendingly at Wyatt lying in a pool of blood. Wyatt, compared to the damage you did to Wynter that day, this is far from enough. Wyatt's eyes widened in disbelief. How could it be you? Wyatt lay on the floor, laughing maniacally. He couldn't accept the fact that he was completely outsmarted by a nobody. Then what do you want? I slowly stood up and walked over to him. Wyatt, what is it that you want the most? I couldn't be clearer on that. So I won't kill you. If you continue to interfere with my and Wynter's lives, I will make you wish you were dead. Do you want to guess if your embezzlement is the only thing I know about? I said nonchalantly. Wyatt instantly felt his scalp tingle. Are you trying to scare me? Before he could finish, I stomped hard on Wyatt's mouth. With this stomp, Wyatt truly started to question his life choices. Even Quinn standing nearby couldn't bear to watch. Boss Wynter's man truly surpasses his master. Tell your people to give me Wynter's mother's belongings. Just then Wyatt, lying on the floor, got up and tried to stab me. Without even turning my head, I raised my hand and punched Wyatt right in the chest. Wyatt let out an agonizing scream, collapsed on the floor, and convulsed. I looked out at the night view from the window. If you threaten my and Wynter's lives again, I will make you wish you were dead. The assistant was furious. Second master, I'll go call for help right now. Wyatt roared. Didn't you hear what I just said? Hurry up and go get Wynter's mother's belongings? I grinned. Much more sensible now. Quinn nodded in agreement. Mr. Gavin trains his dogs well. I coughed awkwardly. I'm still not as good at this as Wynter. Half an hour later, I received what I wanted. Our group set off and left. When had Wyatt ever suffered such a loss? He immediately gave the gatekeeper bodyguards a vicious look. Imperial Capital Airport. A private jet landed here. A woman in a black trench coat slowly walked down the stairs. Butler Luke followed respectfully beside her. Boss Wynter, Mr. Gavin came to the Imperial Capital to retrieve your mother's belongings for you. Please don't misunderstand him. Nonsense. Wynter narrowed her eyes. Did you think I brought all these people to catch Gavin? I just saw his message after my meeting. Otherwise, I would never have let him come to the Imperial Capital alone. If Wyatt dares to harm a single hair on Gavin's head today, I will level the Wen family and make sure none of them have a grave to be buried in. Saying that, she expressionlessly put on a bulletproof vest, and then pulled a Barrett sniper rifle out of the back seat of the car. Butler Luke was speechless. Crazy, she's absolutely lost it. The current Wynter is a complete and utter lunatic. Meanwhile, Quinn was driving and reminiscing about everything that happened today. Mr. Gavin, I've disliked Wyatt for a long time. Now you've finally taught him a lesson. Ha 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 ha, you were so cool today, Mr. Gavin. I'll give you a 666 awesome. Wyatt, who was being held hostage by 2 bodyguards, had a face as black as thunder. Quinn, right now I'd rather you talk bad about me behind my back. Just then my sixth sense picked up an unusually dangerous aura. Wait, something's not right. Bang! Our car tire blew out. A dozen vans ahead blocked our path. I frowned slightly. Wyatt, you don't seem to understand the situation. Did you really think you could leave the Imperial capital alive today? Wyatt burst out laughing. If I don't kill you today, you can hold that blackmail over me for the rest of my life. The van doors opened. Countless bodyguards stepped out and advanced towards my location. I dragged Wyatt out of the car as a hostage. Everyone step back, or I'll kill him, Wyatt grinned. If you actually kill me, they'll kill you immediately to avenge me. Do you think my father would let you leave the Imperial capital? Right at that moment, a middle-aged man stepped out from behind the bodyguards. Gavin, you truly are that man's son. I raised an eyebrow. You knew my parents? The patriarch asked mildly. Gavin, why don't you let go of my worthless son? Otherwise I'll kill you. As soon as the words left his mouth, in the distance, the muzzle of a Barrett sniper rifle aimed at the car next to the patriarch. Bang! The Barrett's power was extraordinary. The car was instantly blown up. Wynter walked over slowly, carrying the Barrett on her shoulder. This time, she aimed the muzzle at the patriarch. You're quite bold. Got a death wish, do you? The patriarch looked at the Barrett in Wynter's hands. His eyelids twitched violently. Sister, you're being too impulsive. Saying that, he raised his hand. The subordinates behind him pulled pistols from their pockets and aimed at Wynter. Caught in the middle, my scalp went numb. Are all conglomerate families this crazy? Wynter raised an eyebrow and smiled contemptuously. I've been far too composed usually. As soon as she finished speaking, over 100 bodyguards also pulled out AKs. Butler Luke silently set up a Gatling gun in the very back. Eldest princess, please calm down. At the end of the day, we're all family. Let's talk this out. Ha ha! Just siblings playing around. We're one big happy family. Calm down, calm down. Wynter dragged someone out from the crowd and stepped on her. Right now, I hold 2 ticking time bombs. The first is enough to destroy Wyatt. The second is enough to level the Wen family. If you let Gavin go, I'll pretend nothing happened today. Or do you all really want to see how crazy Wynter can get? The patriarch's eyes widened. Wynter, you're insane! I went insane a long time ago. A manic light flashed in Wynter's eyes. Her yandere nature was fully exposed. How many times do I have to say it? I have absolutely no interest in fighting for power. I just want to guard my person and live a good life. Are you all absolutely sure you want to force me into madness? At this moment, Wyatt was also completely dumbfounded. He clearly saw the woman Wynter was stepping on. This person was his first love, Ruru. He was indeed a playboy. But to this first love, his white moonlight, he gave her everything she wanted. And she knew all his secrets. Wyatt rushed to speak first. Father, please listen to me. Everything today is a misunderstanding. The patriarch raised an eyebrow, looking at Wyatt with amusement. Are you sure? Wyatt steeled his heart and gritted his teeth. It was me who offended uncle-in-law before. I apologize to everyone. The patriarch remained silent for a long moment. Those sharp eyes quietly observed Wynter. The patriarch then looked at me. Brother-in-law, can you let go now? I led Wyatt, slowly backing up towards Wynter, until we were safe. Only then did I fiercely kick Wyatt away. Seeing me, the murderous intent in Wynter's eyes instantly faded. But soon, her eyes turned to an even more extreme ferocity. She casually dropped 2 words. Do it. As soon as the words left her mouth, countless bodyguards pulled the trigger. Screams echoed endlessly. All the subordinates around the patriarch were killed before they could even react. The patriarch looked expressionlessly at his useless son at his feet. She was this angry today. She had to vent her frustration somehow. As for you, crawl back to the Wen family. If you can't crawl back, then never come back. Wyatt was unwilling to just become a discarded pawn like this. Are you really not going to pursue this? What's there to pursue? The patriarch snorted coldly. I still have 8 excellent sons, why waste my energy on you? With that, he casually got into a van and drove away. On the private jet back to U City, I reached out and stroked Wynter's head, feeling like she had been scared today. Wynter threw herself directly into my arms, looking at me with bloodshot eyes. Gavin, don't force me to lock you up. Don't ever scare me like that again. I looked tenderly at the woman in my arms. All right, I know. I'll listen to you. Actually, this time I just wanted to set up a cenotaph for your mother. Wynter looked at me stiffly, unable to speak for a long time. This woman, who had never been treated kindly, had clearly never imagined a scene like this. She finally dropped a sentence, soft as a mosquito. Am I worth it? Of course you are. I nodded affirmatively. My Wynter is beautiful and cute, and she's especially good at taking care of people. And she treats her subordinates very well too. Hearing these words, the way Wynter looked at me became even more restrained. She really loved it. But she was also terrified that her madness would ruin such a clean and beautiful man. Wynter let out a long sigh of relief. Don't let me see you acting like this with other women. You know, I've never been a good person. Me neither. I wouldn't be this gentle with anyone else. Seeing this scene, Butler Luke couldn't help but show an auntie smile. Fond smile. That's right. That's exactly how it should be. Just then, a beautiful woman walked up to Wynter and knelt down. Boss Wynter, I will never forget your great kindness. If you hadn't intervened to help, I'd probably be dead already. This person was exactly Wyatt's first love, Feng Xiaoro. And it was through this person that I found out about Wyatt embezzling company funds. Wynter's eyes were indifferent. Old Luke, arrange for Feng Xiaoro to live in U City. Give her 10 million and dispatch 10 bodyguards to protect her 24 hours a day. It was already morning when the plane landed. I rushed non-stop to arrange the matters for the cenotaph. Right then my phone rang. The caller was Chloe. I've taken all the photos you asked for. I want to talk to you in person. A dark, scheming light flashed in my eyes. Time to reel in the net. I can finally take personal revenge on Nina, that green tea beach. Before leaving, I sent a message to Wynter to report my whereabouts. Actually, yanderas aren't that scary. As long as you keep her in your heart, then the yandere has zero chance to go crazy. She can even be very sweet. Meanwhile, at the tea house, Chloe pulled out a lot of photos from her handbag. These were all photos of Nina recently, going in and out of various hotels. There were also several photos of her getting intimate with different men. I picked up the photos from the table and took a look, just as I suspected. Seems like she really knows how to enjoy herself, Chloe asked shyly. I've already given you the photos you wanted. Then the 100,000 you promised me. Sign a non-disclosure agreement first, I said, reaching into my briefcase to grab something. Chloe's expression instantly froze. Just kidding. I smiled and pulled out 100,000 in cash from my bag. Chloe quickly snatched all the money over. She was grinning from ear to ear, showing her gums. Looking at the handsome man in front of her, her heart skipped a beat. But Gavin didn't even want Nina. He probably wouldn't want her, Chloe, either, right? Whatever. Since she didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement, she could just blackmail Gavin in the future. Chloe left happily. I calmly tapped my fingers on the table. Preston, you can come out now. As soon as the words left my mouth, a hand reached out from under the table. Preston awkwardly crawled out from underneath. He panted heavily and placed a voice recorder on the table. Boss Gavin, I recorded the whole thing just now. Rest assured, there are no backups. Before this, I followed Chloe and secretly took photos of her secretly taking photos of Nina. They're all here, handing them over to you. I raised an eyebrow and looked at Preston. Do you resent me? Preston lowered his head. People always make some mistakes in life. After going through all this, I've finally woken up to a lot of things. I'll give you a chance to make Nina simp for you, want it? I looked up at Preston. Preston was dumbfounded on the spot. I smiled. I want you to pretend you've made a comeback in front of Nina later. Play the rich, handsome guy, and spend a full 510,000 on her, and mess up her entire roster of guys until it's an absolute toxic wasteland, to the point where her own backyard catches fire. During this process, whatever resources you need, I can provide them. Do you accept this job? Preston swallowed hard. You actually want me to spend 510,000 on her? It doesn't matter. I swirled the teacup in my hand. During a relationship, as long as the money is spent on the woman with the intention of marriage, you can demand it back in the end. I'm giving you 510,000 to set the stage. I hope you have fun, Preston. Preston, however, felt an endless chill. He nodded tremblingly and left. I also pulled a voice recorder out of my briefcase. It contained the entire recording of my conversations with Chloe and with Preston. Truth be told, I didn't trust any outsiders at all. Taking out my laptop, I started typing up a post. Viral. Pure campus belle uses period blood to fake virginity and scam money. 18 sugar daddies jointly demand refunds. Then I'd just casually write up the main text and add the photos Chloe took earlier. According to the plan, Nina would be dumped by Preston by then, and in debt for 500K. When her backyard caught fire, the post I wrote would become the final straw that crushed the camel's back. Thinking of everything in my past life, a ruthless gleam flashed in my eyes. Nina, it's time for you to hit the road too. In the evening, Wynter asked me out to dinner at a restaurant. Passing by a flower shop, I bought a bouquet of white magnolias. By the time Wynter arrived, it was already dusk. She was wearing a light camel trench coat over a long white lace sweater dress, paired with boots. She was also holding a beautiful bouquet of flowers. I walked up to her in 3 quick steps. White magnolias, do you like them? Wynter took the flowers, a look of pleasant surprise shining in her eyes. Soon, she also handed the flowers she brought to me. I was a bit surprised. Jasmine flowers. A phrase flashed through my mind. Giving you jasmine, hoping you never leave. A Chinese pun. Mo li, mo li. For a moment, my heart felt as sweet as honey. Is it because I was going to give you flowers that you wanted to give me flowers too? Wynter lowered her eyes, not looking at me. During lunch break, my little assistant Wang Shuhuan told me, no one dislikes having their every action reciprocated. Her tone sounded completely flat, but her earlobes were slightly flushed. Clearly this kind of thing was too unfamiliar to Wynter. It was her first time learning how to love someone. I couldn't help but ask, so, do you hope that I reciprocate your every action towards me? Wynter nodded. She stared deeply at the man in front of her. Suddenly, she stood up and sat down right next to me. Gavin, I love you. Are you willing to be my boyfriend? My heartbeat instantly lost control, my blood dancing wildly in my veins. Maybe to an outsider, Wynter's confession sounded pretty standard, but I knew exactly how heavy those words were. I like you too, I answered incredibly seriously. Of course I'm willing to have you be my girlfriend. Not enough, baby. Wynter took a tissue and wiped the sweat from my temple. I want you to love me. Love me to the point where you're willing to live for me. Do you understand? I felt my ears burning hot right now. My heart was leaping with joy. It felt like the piece of my heart that was missing in my past life was finally filled in now. Perhaps this is what they call happiness. Wynter, does this mean we're officially together now? So you're my girlfriend now? Wynter's tone was gentle. Regarding this point, you can repeatedly seek confirmation from me. I love you, Gavin. My face turned red again. If we don't eat, it'll get cold. Or do you want me to feed you? She purposely leaned close to my ear, dragging out the final syllables ambiguously. I've discovered something now. When a yandere plays it straight, it's seriously irresistible. A yandere's deep love is an absolute one-shot kill. I was distracted the entire time we ate this hot pot. After dinner, we strolled through the streets of U City. I was holding Wynter's hand, taking a walk. Wynter! Wynter! Here! Wynter, I'm so happy right now. Me too. I suddenly felt like an absolute idiot right now. Freaking hell, I've been smiling this whole walk. It's the National Day holiday. Do you want to come home with me? My parents will definitely like you. Wynter smiled slightly. Sure, let's take a photo together. Wynter cooperatively leaned in. In the photo, both of us were smiling blissfully. The moonlight spilled over us as softly as snow, but it didn't hold a candle to the gentleness in Wynter's eyes as she looked at me. I made it official. The photo I posted was the one we just took together. In a hotel, Nina rolled over and noticed someone had sent a message to her phone. It was Chloe. Nina, look quickly. Gavin made it official. And that screenshot was clearly the post I made to announce it. After all, Nina had already been blocked. For a moment, the phone in her hand slipped uncontrollably. As a fellow girl, she could completely read the look in Wynter's eyes. She couldn't accept that I had completely let her go, nor could she accept that I was dating a girlfriend who was thousands of times better than her. And she especially couldn't accept that there would come a day when I was truly loved by someone. They were mutually running towards each other. Why? Nina's entire body trembled uncontrollably. She suddenly felt that everything she had held onto until now was meaningless. All the effort she had made couldn't compare to this single post of mine. The announcement was a lethal blow. The most agonizing part was that everything she had done was for me. Why? Nina sobbed. The middle-aged man on the bed pulled Nina into his arms. Crying will ruin your pretty face. Come, let Uncle comfort you. Little Ning, I'll buy you a bag, okay? Didn't you have your eye on that new LV one? I'll transfer 30K to you, okay? Nina sobbed and rested her head on the middle-aged man's shoulder. Thank you, Uncle Wang. I knew you treated me the best, but I might not be able to come out and keep you company as often in the future. The middle-aged man froze. I need to focus on my studies from now on. I want to be successful in my career like Uncle Wang. The middle-aged man grinned. Then we'll meet when you have time, okay? Watching the middle-aged man put on his clothes and leave, she finally took out her phone and opened Preston's chat. Preston, I think I've fallen in love with you. Can I officially become your girlfriend? Preston sent a message back. Sure. But I have very strong possessiveness towards my girlfriend. I want you to belong to me completely. You cannot have any contact with other men. Ding. Transfer. 50,000. 50,000 bucks. Nina was absolutely overjoyed and accepted the red envelope on the spot. As soon as Preston received the notification, he screenshotted it and sent it to me. Boss Gavin, the fish took the bait. Remember not to be stupid when transferring money. Don't send 520 or 1314. Numbers meaning I love you and forever in Chinese slang. You can't ask for that kind back. Don't let her coax you into adding voluntary transfer in the notes. Got it. Then I'll stabilize her next. I'll try to bait more stuff out of her and turn her entire roster of guys into an absolute toxic wasteland. Ding. Transfer. 100,000. Receiving the transfer, Preston almost cried. If he had known Nina was this kind of woman, why would he have poured his heart out for her before? He even spent money on Chloe. Gavin is the best. Wynter, who was working, looked up, shot a glance, and pulled me into her arms. Her eyes didn't hide their possessiveness at all. A lingering, passionate kiss landed on my Adam's apple. I looked at the woman with blurry eyes. Stop bullying me like this, you dog. Hearing this nickname, Wynter grinned. A hint of smugness flashed in her eyes. You're not allowed to chat with other people for so long from now on. Right then, Butler Luke rushed in. Wyatt is dead. Cause of death, jumping off a building, suicide. I was instantly dumbfounded. What the heck is going on? I don't know. Wynter shook her head, a hint of innocence in her eyes. My heart aches for my nephew too, he was really just a bit mischievous. Quinn also chimed in. Didn't Wyatt always have severe psychological issues? He probably couldn't handle being given the cold shoulder by his father. Aren't there plenty of young people committing suicide nowadays? Don't overthink it, Mr. Gavin. I fell into deep thought. All right then. Since you guys don't know, then I don't know either. What's done is done. Better head to school. Yi University. Below the boys' dorms, Nina waited obediently for Preston to come down. The moment she saw him, she happily went up to greet him. Preston, you're here. Preston glanced at Nina. Weren't you supposed to bring me breakfast? Sorry, I forgot. Nina lowered her head, looking a bit guilty. I'll buy you a gift later to make up for it, okay? Looking like this, she appeared pitiful and elicited sympathy. If it were the old Preston, he would have been hooked right away. But now, his expression was cold. You can't even remember something as simple as bringing breakfast. I really don't get how I could have liked someone like you. If you can't think of a way to make me happy by tonight, we're breaking up. With that, he turned and walked away. Nina was dumbfounded on the spot. Preston! How did he become like this too? She had clearly done more than enough. She's the campus belle. All the men in the world are jerks! The bystanders sighed in disbelief. Right at that moment, Sammy leisurely walked out of the boys' dorms. Spotting this pair of disgruntled lovers, he couldn't help but grin. Oh my, isn't this our great campus belle, Nina? Why are you eating from your bowl while staring at the pot? The crowd of onlookers started growing larger. Everyone couldn't help but whisper about the past drama between Nina and me. Even Zhao Yingying was a bit surprised. She looked at Nina in disbelief. Nina, I remember Gavin used to be absolutely obsessed with you. Nina felt incredibly humiliated. First, Preston threw a tantrum at her in public. Then she got chewed out by Sammy. Even a little lackey could question her charm now. Nina bit her lip, thinking hard for a long time. She suddenly blurted out, Gavin is doing all this just to make me mad. He even asked me out last night begging to get back together. He simply can't let me go. Asked you out my foot. You've been blocked ages ago. Dead pig not afraid of boiling water. Sammy rolled his eyes. Right then a Maybach pulled into a parking spot right below the boys' dorm. The door opened, and I stepped out. Watching me walk towards her, Nina almost felt her heart stop. She stared at me blankly. I smiled and walked towards Sammy, who was behind Nina. Sammy, the stuff I bought is in the trunk. Come help me move it. I originally wanted to tell him to say hi to Wynter in the car. But considering my good bro's terrified reaction last time, I figured we'd better hold off on that for now. All right, Sammy nodded happily, throwing some sarcastic shade at Nina. Didn't someone just say Gavin was pursuing you? Why are you being completely ignored now? No way! Is someone really living off their own delusions? A combo of verbal blows almost made Nina pass out from anger. Nina cried, feeling wronged. She tried her best to put on her most pitiful expression. Gavin, look at Sammy. How can he say that about me? I glanced at Nina and instinctively took 2 steps back. Get lost! Nina's eyes widened, looking at me in disbelief. Is there really not a single trace of me left in your heart anymore? Nina continued unwillingly. I'm dating someone. Did you know that? I already have a boyfriend. But as long as you nod right now, I can break up with him immediately, she said, opening her arms as if to hug me. Come any closer and I'm claiming self-defense. I warned the great campus belle. But Nina clearly had no intention of listening. I had no choice but to pull gloves out of my pocket and put them on. Then, with a ruthless shoulder throw, I slammed Nina onto the ground. The people around were shocked to see this. Nina is so pitiful. She's the campus belle and she's acting so submissive. At this moment, Nina suddenly realized that she might have actually developed true feelings for me. Just as she was halfway done crawling up, a pair of high heels entered her line of sight. Nina's body instantly froze. She looked up and met a pair of bone-chilling eyes. Wynter bent down slightly, looking down at Nina condescendingly. You seem very interested in my man. With just this one sentence, Nina almost fainted from sheer terror. She ignored the pain and scrambled up from the ground on the spot. I'm sorry, I wouldn't dare. I have no interest in Gavin. No interest at all. You've misunderstood. Sammy was dumbfounded. He looked at Wynter in shock and couldn't help but take 2 steps back. The ice beauty is terrifying, just as expected. Wynter turned to me, reaching out to fix my bangs. So, whose are you? Yours, Wynter's. I kissed Wynter's cheek. Wynter gave a soft, Soon she stood on tiptoes and left a kiss on my forehead as well. Seeing this, the crowd let out another collective, oh. Nina's heart was practically shattered. If she could initially lie to herself, thinking Wynter and I were just friends, then she was completely awake now. They were a couple, and they loved each other. It wasn't Gavin one-sidedly simping. Right then, Preston walked up to Nina. What's wrong with you? Nina hugged him, crying, feeling wronged. Preston, you have to help me. You have to stand up for me. I'm being bullied. Hearing this, Preston looked up and glanced at Wynter and me. But the next second, Preston suddenly dropped a sentence. Then you must have brought it upon yourself acting like a bitch. Stop acting so innocent. Others might not know you, but don't I? Preston pushed Nina's hands away in disgust. Stop bothering me. Nina almost had a breakdown. She felt she had never been this humiliated in her entire life. Preston frowned. Hurry up and get lost! If you don't get your act together and apologize to me before tonight, we're breaking up. With that, he swaggered away, though his mood was terrible. The goddess he originally thought would be so hard to pursue was actually a gold digger who only cared about money. As long as you had money, she'd even simp for you in return. Seeing this, Sammy couldn't help but sigh. Serves her right, instant karma. Then he walked over to me. Why didn't you tell me you brought sister-in-law here? I raised an eyebrow. What, did you actually buy that life insurance policy? Wynter is really gentle. Wynter's gaze towards Sammy was calm and unruffled. I am Gavin's girlfriend, Wynter. Ah, hello! Sammy was very embarrassed. Hello, sister-in-law, I'm Sammy. How about I treat you guys to dinner tonight? Hearing the term sister-in-law, Wynter's aura became significantly milder. She glanced at Quinn beside her. Get the money. Quinn instantly got the memo. He pulled $10,000 in cash out of his briefcase and handed it to Sammy. You just called Boss Wynter's sister-in-law. Consider this her fee for changing how you address her. Sammy looked at the heavy $10,000 in cash in his hand and was completely dumbfounded. Sister-in-law, I'll keep an eye on Gavin for you. If he dares to talk to other girls, I'll snitch on him to you immediately. Wynter felt a bit shy being praised like this, and she genuinely didn't know what to say. So the only thing she could think of was, Quinn, get more money. Quinn, upon receiving the order, pulled another $30,000 in cash out and handed it to Sammy. Congratulations, you have gained our boss Wynter's approval. The surrounding crowd looked on in absolute shock. What the heck is going on? They want a sister-in-law like this too. Sammy almost went weak at the knees. He had never seen this much cash in his entire life. Sammy shook his head. As long as you and Gav are good, that's enough. I can feel your joy. You really don't need to spend so much money. Wynter frowned. She carefully analyzed Sammy's reason for declining. Finally, she couldn't help but say, Quinn, give him all the money. Quinn pulled out another $100,000 in cash and handed it to Sammy. Boss Wynter probably thinks you felt it was too little. Next time, she'll just gift you a car or a house or something. Sammy's eyes were about to pop out of his head. He was experiencing for the first time in his life the feeling of not being able to hold all the money handed to him. So over $100,000 in cash is this heavy? Sammy scratched his head. He smiled, and then suddenly smiled so hard tears came to his eyes. Gav, you have to keep being happy from now on. Seeing you like this, I'm truly happy for you. Night fell. Shenghua Group CEO's office. Wynter had just stepped out of a meeting. Wang Shuhuan expertly stepped forward to take her jacket. Young Master Lin has invited you to a dance tonight. Afterward, we can discuss the land in the northern suburbs. Not going. Wynter sat in her office chair. Resting her eyes, Wang Shuhuan froze. But if we don't go, that land will fall into someone else's hands. Wynter looked up, her tone firm. I will not do anything that would make Gavin sad. Just then, Quinn pushed the door open and walked in. He had a somewhat pleasantly surprised expression. Boss Wynter, guess what? Young Master Lin actually came to our company lobby personally. Said he wants to take you out for dinner and a chat. Looks like we're going to get that land in the northern suburbs. Wang Shuhuan massaged her temples helplessly. Wynter's expression instantly darkened. Tell that guy named Lin to go back. Quinn awkwardly scratched his head. I already brought him to the reception room. Wynter swept a cold glance over Quinn. Go down right now and tell him to leave. Just then, Liam appeared at the office door. He looked refined and had a gentle smile. Wynter, it's raining outside. I'll take you home and then leave. Is that okay? I don't have many friends, but I truly admire you. I think we are the same kind of people. Hearing the words, same kind, Wynter found it rather ironic. She said in an icy tone, Are you worthy? When these three words dropped, Wang Shuhuan and Quinn were dumbfounded. She really isn't planning to get that land. That land in the northern suburbs could bring the company at least $1 billion in revenue. Wynter doing this was clearly just to make me feel more at ease. Whether I'm worthy or not, we'll know once we try. Liam's eyes darkened. They say a forced melon isn't sweet, but I just want to quench my thirst. His family was a well-known enterprise locally in U City. Although not comparable to Wynter, he was definitely better than her boy toy. Hearing these words, Wynter sneered. Liam, are you making me call security to throw you out? She said this, standing up and putting on her suit jacket, ready to leave. Liam unwillingly tried to grab Wynter's hand. Wynter twisted her body to dodge, then planted a kick squarely in Liam's abdomen. Got a death wish? Don't touch me. Liam was kicked so hard he trembled all over. He couldn't believe he was rejected so thoroughly. Not even a meal together? When he went downstairs, he happened to see me holding an umbrella coming to pick up Wynter. Why did you come pick me up today? Because I missed you, I said, pulling a slice of chocolate cake out of a bag. Wynter's expression paused, but she still took it. Seeing this, Liam let out a laugh. You're that boy toy hanging around Wynter, aren't you? Even a suitor like me knows she's allergic to chocolate, yet you don't even know. This is hilarious. Wynter, you treat him so well, but he's this careless. Don't you feel your sincerity is being wasted? Hearing this, my expression froze. This was indeed something I hadn't noticed. I failed Wynter in my past life. And in this life I only recently, belatedly, realized I loved her. I softly apologized. Sorry Wynter, I'll remember this. The disdain in Liam's eyes grew even stronger. Do you even know how precious a person Wynter is? And you don't even know how to cherish her. Wynter, break up with him. I will cherish you with all my heart and absolutely never let you suffer any grievances. Hearing these words made me feel even guiltier. Right now, I only knew she liked strawberries. I didn't even know she was allergic to chocolate. While I was zoning out, Wynter grabbed my hand. In the next second, Wynter took the black forest cake from my hand, looking coldly at Liam. Keep your useless concern to yourself. I'm not allergic to chocolate at all. Gavin is the only one who treats me well, and I only need him to treat me well. With that, she put a piece of the cake into her mouth. Seeing this, Quinn was dumbfounded. Boss Wynter really is allergic! He suddenly remembered something Boss Wynter had said before. If it was him feeding me poison, I would eat it without hesitation. It actually wasn't just a sweet nothing. It was a fact, I said in an icy tone. I admit I just got together with Wynter, and I might not know her perfectly well yet. But it's not your place as an outsider to worry about it. If I see you harassing her again, I will not let you off lightly. Fine. Liam glared at me viciously and turned to leave. Wynter, just you wait. By this time, Wynter's face was already starting to flush red. Quinn was incredibly anxious. Boss Wynter, I'll go buy you medicine right now! No. Wynter opened the car door and sat in the back seat. I felt a bit helpless and could only follow her into the car. By the time we arrived at the Rose Manor, Wynter's condition was already not looking too good. Her face was flushed red and her body was burning hot. I held her in my arms and took the elevator up to the floor where the bedroom was. Then I gently laid her on the bed. I know why you didn't take the medicine. You felt that I really didn't know about your chocolate allergy. To save face for me in front of an outsider, you forced yourself to eat it. If you took allergy medicine right after coming home, that would be proving to an outsider that I really don't understand you, right? Wynter, I promise you, I will pay more attention to you from now on, okay? Wynter shook her head. She looked up at me and said softly, I'm sorry. I almost wondered if I heard wrong. Little Wynter, why are you the one apologizing to me now? I won't let Liam appear around me ever again. I'm afraid you'll be unhappy. Wynter's tone was filled with deep apology. I don't want to take the medicine. I don't want others to misunderstand you. She curled up in the corner of the bed, wrapping her body in the blanket, looking at me with those pitiful fawn-like eyes, looking both wronged and innocent. My heart was about to melt. I quickly went forward and pulled Wynter into my arms. I didn't know you were allergic to chocolate, that's an objective fact, but I am willing to spend a lifetime loving you. So Wynter, take the medicine, okay? Wynter nodded. Only then did she take the medicine. Those beautiful eyes hid a hint of dark cunning. Gavin, I don't feel well here. You finally stopped being a mega simp for the childhood crush you chased for 18 years, and turned around to marry an absolutely unhinged yandere female CEO. Everyone else called you cold and heartless. Only you knew that the yandere was your true love. Because in your previous life you spent 5 whole years pursuing the campus belle. You finally spent a 3 million bride price just to marry her and bring her home. After marriage, you worked your fingers to the bone. You successfully fought your way up to become a multimillionaire. But the campus belle, all for the sake of her secret lover, actually poisoned your wine glass, sending you straight to the grave via sudden cardiac arrest. It wasn't until your life ended and your soul left your body that you realized someone out there was silently guarding you all along. For you, she attended your funeral. She threw away all her power, wealth, and status. She personally offed that trashy couple so you could rest in peace. She stumbled and staggered her way to your coffin. Looking at your eternally sleeping face, her voice trembled. Why couldn't you just stay by my side? From the very beginning, all I ever wanted was you. Floating in midair, you stared blankly at the woman in front of you. In that moment, your soul felt like it had been struck by lightning. In the very next second, she committed suicide to join you in the afterlife. You threw your arms wide open, desperately trying to stop her. But your spectral body grasped nothing but empty air. You didn't understand why. Why treat you like a mere plaything? And why go to such lengths to avenge you? Your heart felt like it was being ripped to shreds. The weekend. I know what to give sister-in-law now. She'll definitely freaking love it. Seeing this message, I couldn't help but feel something was off. Why do I feel like I'm about to be sold out? Before I could even type a reply, Sammy, Earth mode is back today. Do you want to go to the internet cafe and play? I shook my head. I can't possibly bring Wynter, this otherworldly, eldest princess who doesn't eat the food of mortals, to a ramen-scented internet cafe to play video games. But it's URF mode. Finally, I couldn't resist asking. Wynter, are you free today? I've cleared my schedule for the entire day. Wynter smiled slightly. I rubbed my hands together excitedly. Want to go play video games tonight? I'll teach you, okay? Quinn, who was driving, twitched his eye. The eldest princess going to play video games? No matter how you look at it, it feels so out of character. But this time you might as well go secure a few more projects. Wynter smiled gently. Okay. Eventually, the car arrived at the destination. The seats Sammy booked were in a private room in the corner by the window on the second floor. Sitting by the window, Wynter instinctively wanted to maintain her working state, but remembering that my friend was treating us today, she decisively turned off her phone, took off her black gloves and put them in her bag. She sat up straight, waiting. Why does she give off this inexplicably well-behaved vibe? I couldn't help but laugh. Wynter, are you still socially anxious? I don't know. Wynter shook her head. I remember you care a lot about this friend. To anyone else, I am Wynter. But today, I am your girlfriend, so I want to leave a good impression. I was completely dumbfounded. I feel like my judgment of Wynter in my past life was completely wrong. Even Quinn was very surprised. You have to know, Boss Wynter is a ruthless character who can calmly handle assassinations. Yet she's actually getting nervous today. So I really am very important to Wynter. So important that even my friends get treated with importance. Fortunately, Sammy didn't let this sincerity go to waste. When he arrived, he brought two big treasures. Sister-in-law, I'm here. My old man said someone of your caliber definitely isn't lacking money. So you've seen every novelty out there. So I plan to give you some gifts that really show my sincerity. This is the broad bean paste my mom makes. It's absolutely delicious on rice. These are couples mugs. I had your respective names engraved on them, and some sweet little romantic wishes and stuff. I hope you like them, sister-in-law. Wishing you and Gav a sweet, happy, and perfect life together. Sammy rambled on, presenting the gifts. Throughout the whole process, Wynter became increasingly at a loss for what to do. Although she looked calm on the outside, one hand under the table was nervously clutching the hem of her skirt. She looked to me for help, whispering in my ear, "What should I do now?" I held Wynter's face and gave her a kiss. Accept them gracefully. I think the couple's mugs are great. Only then did Wynter nod. Thank you, little Sue, Sammy. Sammy sneakily ran to Wynter's side. Sister-in-law, I have one ultimate gift package to give you. Let's look at it secretly. Don't let Gav know. Wynter wasn't as unnatural as she was at first. She nodded, stood up, and walked over to Sammy. Sammy inexplicably felt a wave of pressure. He just handed his phone straight to Wynter and scurried away like he was escaping, standing right next to me. I screenshotted them all in the album. Take a look yourself. Wynter saw the contents on the phone. A very pretty older sister came to the house today and said she wants to sponsor my studies. I'm really grateful to her. The power went out last time, and the older sister was very scared. I bought a battery-powered backup desk lamp. I wonder if she'll like it. She still doesn't want me to call her older sister. All right, then I'll call her Miss Wens. But she seemed even more unhappy. The older sister has been acting weirder and weirder lately. I've always respected her. Men and women should keep a respectful distance. But she's still a very important person to me. From now on, I'll keep my distance in public and just treat her well secretly. The older sister's old headache problem is acting up again. It's probably because she hasn't been sleeping well, doctor. Wright said she'd be better if I kept her company, but I still think a girl's reputation is the most important thing. I hope the older sister meets someone who truly cares about her one day. I hope that person is as outstanding as she is and treats her super well. I got a perfect score on my exam today. I saw the older sister smile. I'm so happy. These were all social media posts from before I met Nina. Sammy deliberately screenshotted these to make his sister-in-law happy. Wynter's breath hitched. She clearly never thought that the boy she once cared for had also cared for her like this. So that's how it was. Her eyelashes fluttered lightly as she continued scrolling, and when she saw the final post, her pupils trembled, as if her soul had been drained. I think I've fallen for the older sister. I hope she never ever finds out about this secret. I will try to distract myself as quickly as possible. How could I possibly be worthy of such a wonderful older sister? And this post was from my freshman year of high school, so it was that early. A flash of bitterness crossed Wynter's eyes. That emotion was a mix of unwillingness and an overwhelming sourness. Looks like when this is over, she needs to interrogate him properly. He actually didn't tell her. She really had waited a very long time. Wynter suppressed her emotions and said sincerely to Sammy, "Thank you, little Sue." Quinn didn't even need to be called this time. He walked up to Sammy and decisively pulled out $50,000 in cash. "Bro, you really don't have to." Sammy looked terrified. "I never wanted to make money this way. I'll definitely be able to find a good job after graduation and make $1 million a year." Sammy had just breathed a sigh of relief when Quinn handed both the money and the bag directly to Sammy. "Take it. The $200,000 inside should be enough. Oh, I almost forgot. Boss Wynter also gifted you a classic Ferrari 488 sports car. Butler Luke just called and said he already parked it downstairs at your place. Landed cost is around $4 million. As soon as he finished speaking, Sammy held an extra Ferrari car key in his hand. Sammy's pupils literally earthquaked on the spot. Does it have to be this casual? Can having money really allow you to be this willful? Sammy's hands were shaking. I feel like I don't deserve this. Sister-in-law, don't worry. If Gavin ever bullies you in the future, I'll be the first one to say no, I glanced at Sammy. Alright, just keep it. Didn't I tell you? My girlfriend is very gentle. Sammy nodded frantically like a chicken pecking at rice. Yes, yes, yes! Sister-in-law is the gentlest in the world. Guarding the gentlest sister-in-law in the world! Wynter felt a bit embarrassed. Have a seat, let's eat. After lunch, I looked up some higher-end internet cafes nearby. Finally, I found one that cost $50 an hour. Wynter, we'll play some games later, and I'll teach you how to control everything. Wynter nodded. Seeing this, Sammy couldn't help but laugh. I feel exactly the same way Gav does now. Those peoples were absolutely slandering my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law isn't fierce at all. Right then, Liam appeared at the end of the street, walking slowly. Seeing Wynter's back, he walked towards her with a look of pleasant surprise. However, before the word Wynter even fully left his mouth, he saw the woman who was just being gentle to me expressionlessly raise her hand. Before Liam could even get close, he was gagged by bodyguards hiding in the shadows, grabbed by his arms and legs and dragged into a dark corner, and beaten to a pulp by the bodyguards right on the spot. After doing all this, Wynter returned to her gentle demeanor in front of me. She walked up to me and carefully adjusted my collar. Did something just come over here? Wynter looked up, staring at me with those innocent fawn-like eyes. I didn't notice. I nodded. Then I must have heard wrong. Goldfish Internet Cafe. The environment here was actually pretty nice. I quickly found seats with Wynter and started teaching her how to play the game. While we were playing our first game of URF, Wynter was already looking up guides. She quickly memorized many of the strong champions in the current meta. Finally, she entered a game and started trying out the controls. By the time I finished my game, Wynter had basically gotten the hang of it. Together? Everyone looked at Wynter expectantly. Wynter nodded and entered Summoner's Rift with the three of us. Sammy chuckled. Sister-in-law, let me tell you, this game isn't something you can win just by knowing the theory, but don't worry. Your bro here is a diamond tier king. I'll carry you to victory, I gently reassured her. Wynter, we're just playing games to relax, no need to be nervous. Then everyone entered the game, and then they realized they had completely overthought it. Wynter played Katarina and went on an absolute killing spree in URF mode. When the game ended, Wynter faced the post-game screen with a cold, aloof expression, hiding her merits and fame. She just didn't know how to exit the stats screen to start the next game. Sammy slumped on the sofa, showing an expression of complete defeat. Damn it! Hard work is completely worthless in the face of talent. By the way, sister-in-law, are you interested in going pro? That's definitely a career where you make hundreds of millions a year. Hearing this, Wynter couldn't help but frown. Seems a bit low. She looked up at Quinn and said seriously, give the players at the club a raise next month. Sammy couldn't help but ask, sister-in-law, what exactly do you do? Wynter took off her headphones and walked to my side. Gavin, you tell him. I smiled. Remember this, Sammy. Your sister-in-law is probably way more badass than a normal CEO.